mix it up on the social media world. But that can wait because Jerickson Profar is no longer available as a free agent as he has signed with the Atlanta Braves as a free agent. No word yet on the numbers, but certainly I imagine this is going to make people feel sick.
In San Diego, for sure.
Well, that's who I'm referring to.
Yeah, that's who we're talking to. We're talking to people that are not happy to hear this. We weren't happy to hear it. It happened no more than 2-3 minutes ago. Jeff Passan reporting that Profar has signed. As soon as we get the more details of the contract, we'll pass it along to you. It's funny that Scraby had a poll on our sheet here for the day. And the question is, where will Jerickson Profar sign? This is from MLB Trade Rumors. I guess the winner is another team.
Yeah, because he wasn't on that list.
Because the Braves weren't even on the list. So good job by MLB Trade Rumors. I swear, I'm not going to knock these guys. They're probably okay in general. But I think a lot of times these guys, people just make this stuff up. They have no insight whatsoever.
Oh, Chris, this was a poll. It wasn't like
but why are you guessing? Why are you guessing the Blue Jays, the Astros?
Those were the
teams
that were rumored and
rumored
selected.
to who? I mean, that's what I'm saying. You say a rumor, but is there any truth to the rumor? I mean, you can rumor anything.
I think MLB Trade Rumors is pretty good.
Oh, they are.
They're pretty
Well,
accurate.
they were pretty bad on this. I mean, they gave us 6 choices and none of them came true. They picked a quarter of the league and they were wrong. I mean, I could have come up with 6 choices of where he was going to go just off the top of my head. You don't agree with me?
This is a very interesting thing to be so angry about.
I'm tired of people just throwing stuff out there that I don't know that they have any. I don't think they have any information to back it up.
This feels like you're a little salty because he didn't end up with the Padres. Because I mean, ultimately, does the poll really like? I mean, did you go into this thinking, oh, MLB Trade Rumor put these teams on, so it has to sign with these teams?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so
In fact, I didn't even know about the poll.
Exactly.
So honestly, I don't. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We were led to believe that we were going to get Sasaki. We all felt we were going to get Profar. I think I'm speaking from the heart a little, Tony. You're right. This last week has been really, really tough to swallow if you're a Padre fan, right? I mean, how can it be any different than that?
Yeah.
And Profar was maybe the one fallback. I mean, look, the Padres themselves, the organization, I believe they have a pretty good handle on what this fan base thinks and feels. After all, they put a great product out on the field. The fans have been there. The crowds have been incredible the last 3 years. The support for this team has been remarkable. And I got to believe that when Sasaki made his decision, I got to believe somebody somewhere in the Padres offices said, all right, that's water under the bridge now. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? Are we going to be able to do anything to make our fan base feel better about things? I got to believe that Profar's name came up immediately in that discussion. Now, if the Braves paid him $25 million a year, so be it. Then good for him and good for the Braves. So I think it'll be interesting to see how much he got paid. But I got to believe this is really disappointing as well. I mean, do you disagree?
It's disappointing, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Jerickson has clearly proven to be a big piece to what the Padres have going. The 1 year that he wasn't here, in between the years that he was, seemingly didn't go the Padres' way. So I think, aside from what you got on the field, he means a ton to this ball club just from a character player standpoint. But this is Major League Baseball, and this happens all the time. The Padres, and listen, I think it's really hard to speak on this until we know what the numbers are for Atlanta, right? If he signed for something that I think the public's gonna feel like was attainable, it's gonna hit even harder.
Guide me, guys. Guide me to a number that I can be angry about and a number I shouldn't be angry about.
I'll let Tony do that. He's the money guy on this show.
I'm really not, but I think what we can.
You think $10 million is an overpay for one season for Jurickson Profar? If the Padres were to bring him back,
I think he's going to get more than that.
I think he's
going to get
that.
more than that. If he got less than that, if it's single digits, 8 million is single digits. If he gets single digits, I think Padre fans are going to feel some type of way.
Yeah.
I don't know that they have a right to, or if they're right or wrong or indifferent. Doesn't really matter.
Right.
They're going to feel this way. They're going to feel like, wow.
The number is probably somewhere between. My guess is going to be like 11 and 15.
Yeah, I would think.
That's what because we were seeing numbers. The projection to be, I think it was 13 somewhere in there. So
yeah, 13 was like the common one.
I would be surprised if it's a single digit. There's going to have to be some questions asked as to, or it only leads you down the path of what I think the worst case scenario is, which is that somehow the lawsuit has slowed the process of being able to acquire guys down the road. And so, we don't know. We're waiting to see what Jeff Passan ends up putting out there in terms of what these numbers are. But my guess is it's going to be up in that range, which then you can start to understand, okay, I could see because it was rumored that Jurickson, what, 3 years, I think? He was looking for 3 years?
Something like that.
If he got 3 years at those numbers.
At $40 million.
Yeah, you could see maybe why the Padres, couldn't get there. That still does not make it feel any better moving forward, because what is your options that are left out there in terms of being able to be underneath that price tag?
I don't know. AJ Cassavell, you're a funny guy. Here's his tweet from a minute ago. It looks like Jurickson Profar will be in left field for opening day in San Diego after all.
Oh, man. That's pretty good, though.
The Padres host the Braves on March 27th.
First Sunday night baseball game, too?
It hurts. It hurts.
This one hurts. Jurickson in left field in a Braves uniform.
This one hurts, and we just took a shot to the gut on Friday. So it's tough for us, man.
These gut shots, you got to take the wind out of you.
I'm trying to speak as a fan. There's still a good part of me, Tony. I know this is not going to go over. This is going to go over like a lead balloon right now. There's still part of me that says a team with Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Xander Bogaerts and Jake Cronenworth and Yu Darvish and Michael King and Dylan Cease shouldn't be too bad. There's still a big part of me that says that. Those are a lot of really good players.
I don't think that should hit like a lead balloon at all.
I think it does now.
It may very well do that, but
yeah, I think it does hit like a lead balloon right now because people feel some type of way.
Baseball's not played with feelings, and ultimately you could feel how you want to. That roster is still a competitive roster. Does it suck that those guys, and those guys by I mean Roki Sasaki and Jurickson aren't on our team? Absolutely. Does it hurt? Absolutely. But I said that yesterday. This is still a very competitive ball club that is going to have to now pivot and find a starter or two and a left fielder now.
Definitely a left fielder.
They're starter or two and a left fielder for sure. Probably a DH in there somewhere. Catching, we saw some rumors pop up yesterday in terms of
who was it?
Christian
Vasquez.
Vasquez.
No. Oh, was
yes,
it?
He's the rumored target of the Padres right now.
Astro,
former
World
Red
Series
Sox,
winner.
World
Series
Sox
winner with the Red Sox.
Former Astro,
and Astro.
Now
right.
Twin.
I have a rumor that I talked about on the Scraby Show last night.
Hold on, real quick though. But you still those questions are gonna have to be answered. Unfortunately, you may not get an answer, before spring training. The way it's shaping up is exactly how it shaped up last year, where there won't end up being a significant signing in the period that we think it's going to end up. Will whatever they do end up being the type of is that me?
No,
that was
my
you?
phone.
Okay.
Nope.
The type of piece that is going to supplement the type of production you got from Jurickson. That's the tough part right there.
I want to present a trade to you guys on the other side of the break, because I've been seeing this trade pick up a little steam. I talked about it on the Scraby Show last night, and I think it's a name that would make fans happy. So I'll ask you guys about that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think fans are too happy as of this moment, 2:11 p.m. on Thursday, January 23rd, hearing the news that Profar is not coming back. Just, 5-6 days after hearing that Sasaki was going to L.A. This is tough.
I think we need this, guys.
We might need a break for the fans to sort it all out as well.
Yeah,
we all just found out together.
We will slow play right on into this break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. It has been a rough week for Padre fans.
Hi, welcome back. Welcome in. Gwynn and Chris underway. Not passing along any good news. Jurickson Profar, within the last 20 minutes, became an Atlanta Brave. Signed the contract. We still don't have details on how much he will be making. But we can tell you he's not going to be a San Diego Padre in 2025. As I expected, some of the texts, some of the chat, comments, the sky is falling, according to those.
I think it's fine. I think this is, and everybody's right to feel like this is getting pretty rough right now.
We have to wait for the money on this one.
Even if the money is out now, like enormous, like we
even if they paid him $30 million a year and the Padres couldn't do it, it still hurts. It's no good, man. We wanted Profar. We needed that as a fallback after the Sasaki decision. We're not going to get it.
I think the interesting thing is that at the end of the season, I think it was kind of felt like we probably weren't going to get Profar back because of the year he had. But then as the offseason has kind of pushed along, I don't know if it was any signals, but it felt like the Padres' chances to re-sign him were going up, and so I think that's a big reason why it feels even worse today. Because at one point I think we had kind of written off being able to bring Profar back because of the year he had, and then as I said, it felt like it was something that could happen, and then boom, the Atlanta Braves, who also prior to this signing hadn't signed anybody.
No, and Profar was smart, or his agent, or people were smart to maybe offer themselves up to an Atlanta team that was looking to spend a little money after everybody else had spent money except them. So,
am I the only one? Now, again, my opinion changes when I see the money. Am I the only one who thinks this may be a blessing in disguise for the long run? Because we've talked about this. Players who have career years late in their career, signing them to another contract isn't always the best way to go because they can't replicate that career year. So I understand that Profar is incredibly important in the clubhouse and he's a fan favorite. I'm not discounting that. That's going to hurt.
It's a fair point, and it's very surprising that somebody, a panicker like you, would make that point. But
it is a good point.
I mean, you being the one that comes out and says, maybe this isn't a big deal, is a little, got me kind of wondering what's going on around here.
A little dazed and confused right now hearing you say that.
Because
are you going to tell me that Sasaki's decision for the Dodgers might be a good thing in the long run as well?
No, I can never say that because it's not a good thing. But
well, maybe it will be. Maybe he'll come over and he won't be. He'll never be able to get the velocity back on his fastball.
True.
He'll injure his arm while he's trying to overthrow for the Dodgers. I mean, anything is possible. Just like it's possible that the Rockies could win the division without any players, but it's not likely.
I don't think that's actually possible.
Well, it's also not likely that the Padres not getting Sasaki nor Profar is a good thing, at least as of right this moment.
Sasaki, not getting him is a bad thing. I know that.
Okay.
But Profar was great last year, but we haven't seen that type of year throughout his entire career. Wow. I mean, Tony, can you tell us, what someone finds something? Is it why do people have career years and then go back to being the player that they were before?
I think the answer to that last part of the question is because the game is baseball's hard. But I think, listen, Scrape, you bring up a really good point.
Which is rare in its
It is. It's, as I said, it kind of knocks me
point is really
down
good.
Very rarely do you get to push that button, so you should take advantage right now. We see it often in sports in general. A guy who will not quite live up to the potential that was set before him, have a year in which he lives up to that potential.
Right. Remember, he was the number one prospect in all of baseball.
For 2 years.
Back in 2010 and 2011. Number one, not just one of the top. He was the top.
Yeah. And he had spent so much time at the big league level and had enough numbers to where people believed that he wasn't ever going to get back to that. I would say that there had been signs that he was on his way there. He did it in a different role. And what was that, 2012 22.
22, he had a good year.
He had a good
15
year.
homers, 58 RBIs that year, and kind of a. I mean, he started most of the year. But that was not a bad year.
That wasn't. He was a big reason why the Padres rolled through the first couple of rounds of that playoffs, right?
23, he went to Colorado, and as a lot of things do when you go there, it went south.
It's where you go to die.
It went south, right? And that could totally be because of the environment he is, because the very next year he signs back with the Padres on a 1-year, $1 million deal.
Yeah.
And he has a career year. And so I think it's fair to question, can he replicate that for the next 2, 3, or however many years he signs this deal for? But that doesn't change the fact that you're giving up 280, 350, and 4 whatever slug out of the left field position that you only had to pay $1 million for last year. And I think that's the key point, right? If Jerickson had been making somewhere close to what he's getting in this contract, well, we assume, I should say, it might be different for the Padres to go up $2, $3, $4 million to get him. From $1 million to what we're guessing will be at least 10, it's a big jump. And the Padres are right at the luxury tax threshold. They clearly felt like whatever the number was, they couldn't get to it.
Well,
or I would have to believe they would have signed him.
Yeah. To make anybody try to feel better off the bat here, his 839 OPS was 113 points higher than his career average. So, it would be somewhat unlikely that he repeats that. But as of right now, I don't know that makes us feel a whole lot better. I'm going to get to your trade conversation in a second. The only people who feel better about Profar not being a Padre right now is the Aztec men's basketball team, because we don't have to talk about their narrow escape at Air Force last night for a few more minutes. But you were talking about some trade things that you're hearing and whether or not they could come to fruition.
Yeah, here's a name that I think pops with everyone, and that name would be Marlins pitcher Sandy Alcantara. Now, we know the Marlins like to do deals with the Padres. We know the Marlins aren't interested in fielding a team that's going to compete. So Sandy Alcantara's contract is very interesting as well, because they bought out his arbitration. He'll make $17.3 million this coming year, but it will only count for 11.2 on the luxury tax. So they're not actually going to have to pay all of that $17 million in the luxury tax. And then he has a club option in 2027. So this is an affordable option, guys. And I think that fans would be pretty excited to see Sandy Alcantara come over at a trade.
But it's an affordable option in terms of what he's making?
What he's making, yes.
What are you giving up, though, to get Sandy Alcantara?
And where is the name even coming from? I mean, you can bring up almost any name in baseball that doesn't make as much money as they should and say that would be nice to have them on the Padres.
No, I get that.
Doesn't mean we can do that.
Of course. I don't know who they're sending back, and it doesn't make sense to trade for a starting pitcher by giving up a starting pitcher, so I don't think you could do that. If you're going to do that, you might as well fill left field and some other positions, but I don't know. I like this. It's the luxury tax I think the Padres
But
would
you're
be
saying you like this. You
to.
like what?
I like Sandy Alcantara.
I like Sandy Alcantara too, by the way.
It would make me excited if they traded for Sandy Alcantara.
But I would have to believe a
fabulous.
front-line dude like that, even coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean,
even coming off of Tommy John is going to cost you.
He'll have almost 2 years of rest from his Tommy John injury to when he's going to pitch again.
Yeah. Right. So, I think this other thing is probably teams want to see, like it would be blind faith going out there and making a deal for him after not seeing him pitch. And it might be worth it. I don't know. I think Sandy Alcantara is uber
I'm
talented.
pretty sure that Gunnar Henderson is under team control for another 4 years as well. He'd look great on this club.
See, that wouldn't work, Chris, because the control is much more.
Why not bring another shortstop into the mix?
We got to put him in left field. I mean, that's all we ever do anyway.
The control is what's valuable about Gunnar Henderson. There's no control with Sandy Alcantara. No. You don't have to, you're not going to give up a ton because he doesn't have any more team control.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully that comes to fruition. Because right now it would be nice if something came to fruition.
Yes. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see Santander?
Santander.
Yes. You see his contract? See how much he
I didn't-
deferred?
No.
Oh, he's a deferrer.
He's a deferrer.
Oh, wow.
61.75 million of that 92.5.
Wow.
Well.
When is he getting it? When does it start getting paid? Does it say?
Let's see. It does not.
Because I know like some of the Dodgers are next in 2030s.
The present day overall value by Union's calculation is 68.6 with a 13.7 AAV. They haven't. Oh no, they do say. It says Santander deal includes opt out after third. If he opts out, Jays can void it by increasing salary by 2.5 each of the final 2 years. Also, that's something. So, yeah, it doesn't say how long it's deferred to, but I thought that was interesting.
Deferred money.
Another team hopping in the deferral.
Deferred money, in theory, for the player is a great idea.
It's a great day. Great idea.
You just one day wake up and you got your $15 million deposited in your bank account.
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, it's like finding the best spot of change in your couch.
It would be cool. But right now, it's not cool.
No.
Jake Garriani from CBS 8 is good San Diego sports guy. He'll jump in and join the conversation when we return. Jake is a very upbeat, mostly positive thinking guy.
Yes.
I like
so
Jake.
maybe he can put us all in a better frame of mind. Profar is a Brave. Gwynn and Chris back after this on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris on
The clock, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. For those here in San Diego, make sure you guys are careful. Wind is howling pretty good out there.
Let's not start any fires.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's warm enough right now, so try to keep the fires down.
All right, we've been trying to decipher, what the number was, but we've got it. And first, I'm gonna say, shout out to Jerickson Profar, man. Congratulations, he got his bag. Remember, we talked about 22. He had a career season, and didn't get anything to show for it. Had to end up signing with the Rockies. That didn't quite work out. Comes back on a $1 million one-year deal with the Padres. Balls out, a big reason why the Padres had the success he was, and he is going to be compensated heavily. 3 years, $42 million to the Atlanta Braves. $12 million, yes, $12 million. The first year, it jumps up to $15 the next 2 years after, and that's the payday that he set out to get. And it sucks that he's not coming back to the Padres, but two things. Great for him, and you can understand why the Padres didn't go that high.
I understand. I get it. I understand that the Dodgers have a wonderful culture, or at least we're told. But it's still a little painful today. I do feel good for Jerickson Profar, and on the surface, in a vacuum, totally get it. Padres were not really well equipped, it didn't seem at this point, to spend that kind of money to bring Jerickson back. So, I still am hurting, though.
Yeah, no,
and I think the Padre fans are, and I'm speaking for them. I'm not. Yeah,
that wasn't meant to make anybody.
No, I know
feel
you're
better.
just trying to give you got to give the numbers,
right?
And there it is.
Yeah,
so maybe that makes people feel a little more understanding of where things are.
Yeah, me. I'm one of those people.
Well,
good.
you
were the voice of reason there about 15 minutes ago.
I did. Yeah,
maybe this is going to be good.
I said a blessing in disguise.
By the way, your voice of him isn't that great either.
It's not any better?
No,
but it's funny, though.
His voice for me is his voice for Lori.
What? Well, he mixes them up. Well, your voice for him is your voice for about 10 other people, too.
Well,
Exactly.
Jerickson Profar would have paid $1 million.
I mean, listen, I think that's a big deal for Jerickson.
Yeah, awesome. Good for
Doesn't
him.
sound like you feel awesome.
I'm happy for him. I'm
3 years from now, when you're paying him $15 million and he's possibly, I'll say possibly, not a starter anymore, you're going to feel like you got Matt Carpenter on the team again.
Maybe.
Yeah. Now, what time is Jake coming up?
In 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes.
And in 3 years, when Roki Sasaki's having his second arm surgery, I'm going to be thrilled that he chose the Dodgers. But as of right now,
doesn't feel good.
Neither thing is true.
Does not feel good.
There you have
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'll get Jake on the phone.
Shall we talk about...
the weather delay?
No, the Aztecs.
Oh, sorry.
Last night.
I don't know that we can do it in 2 minutes before Jake Garriani comes on.
We don't have to get in depth. I mean, we really wasn't a lot to talk about.
You got to thank old McKinney there, because he doesn't make that play, man. That would have been...
All I was thinking about was how sad I was going to be the next day talking about this.
Oh, yeah. That would have been one of the worst losses they've had in a decade. They haven't really had any, remember they'd won 67 games in a row against teams that were quad 3 or quad 4. Air Force is like a quad 9. I mean, they're like barely ranked in the top 300 in the nation. So
I
they
just
avoided that.
I just
thankfully.
happened to get the game on for the very last possession. And
really? You didn't see any of it?
Well, I had watched the beginning. They were doing all right. I'm talking about the very beginning.
Okay.
And then I had a text from my buddy that I didn't catch until about 35 minutes later.
Right.
And he's like, "Are the Aztecs playing this bad for real?" And then my heart sunk. I was like, "Oh man."
Uh-oh.
So then I turned the TV on, and they're down 1. I just turned right after my man.
You didn't even see how they got
tipped
down
it in.
1.
I
which
saw
was
the replay.
yeah,
Yes.
That was
And I tell you what, the sea parted. He just, I mean, you would think 4.4 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a long way to travel.
The only way you can get there is in a direct line, and they didn't get in his way.
They provided the direct line for him.
Yeah, they didn't get in his way. So I'll compliment Dutcher and the staff for pulling that out, and I'll compliment the kid for making the shot. But it was tough to watch, and hopefully the Aztecs will learn from this. The one thing I'll also say before we get to Jake is that altitude is a real thing.
No doubt.
And the
You can see
Aztecs
it.
really don't hardly ever play well at altitude. This one would have hurt, though. All right.
Let's bring our next esteemed guest, Jake Garriani, joins us here, CBS News. Our CBS.
Jake, you got a promotion. You're like Lester Holt now.
We're going national, baby. We're going national. Also, no one's ever used the words esteemed to describe me, Gwynn.
That's Jake. You are esteemed, man. Don't let nobody tell you differently. Jake, first, I'm sure you've heard the news at this point. Jerickson Profar to the Braves, 3 years, $42 million. It does seemingly shed some light, possibly on why he's not a Padre.
Yeah, 100%. And once you define the word esteemed for me, I'll let you know if it's appropriate. But as far as Jerickson goes, yeah, I mean, I think you look at a deal $14 million a year, and there's kind of two schools of thought, right? Do you think Jerickson Profar had the greatest year he's ever going to have, or do you think this was the beginning of a late career resurgence? The Braves, I mean, it's not like 14 years is an incredible gamble, but the Braves decided that they would see what they got with 14 years. And I think it stings more because you look at the Padres' needs, right? I mean, if the Padres had some great options out in the outfield, people would go, yeah, okay, go ahead and pay Jerickson $14 million and let's go ahead and be on our way. But I think you have to look at this Padres offseason and paint two pictures. It's been a disaster. Let's not sugarcoat what the offseason has been. And last year's offseason was a disaster too. Both were incredibly bad offseasons in the moment. And then you kind of look at what the Padres did during the season, and you kind of look at what the Padres have moving into this season, and you go, wait, like this is still a really good roster. And remember, we went into last year not knowing who was going to play center field, not knowing who was going to play left field, and we ended up with 3 all-star outfielders. So there's a lot of ways to look at this offseason, and recency bias is a real thing. And, yeah, it doesn't look great right now. It's been a disaster for sure. That doesn't mean the season's going to be a disaster.
Jake, what are you hearing around town from fans? I mean, it seems like the sky is falling one minute. The next minute, we're trying to talk ourselves into the fact that maybe A.J. Preller will save the day in February and March, as he often does. Are the Padres going to be able to keep their fan base happy between now and opening day, or get them happy again?
I don't know if there's a such thing as a happy fan base in most of the world. So to answer your question very short, no, they're not going to be able to. But that doesn't mean that that's the truth of how the season's going to be going. If they start winning some games, I promise you people will be happy. But, to your point, Chris, let's look at what AJ has done in the past, the Michael Wakas and the Seth Lugos, Jerickson last year, moving Jackson Merrill to center field. He has always seemingly found a way. He's given me no reason to think that he won't this year. Are there tons of gaps? Is there a lawsuit going on? Is there financial issues with what the Padres have to deal with? Absolutely. But yet he seemingly has figured it out to the best of his ability year in, year out. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do something this year. And it may not be A and B equals C. It may be moving stuff around. It may be something that clicks a little bit later. But I have a feeling that they're going to put a competitive product out there on the field and try and make a wild card again.
Jake Garriani joins us here, CBS 8. And Jake, you tend to look at it from the same lens that I tend to look at it, a much more positive take on things. And, as we move closer and closer to spring training, what is continuing to give you this hope that the Padres can find their level here, as they've lost out on Profar, they've lost out on Sasaki, but they still have a very talented roster, as you mentioned. What is giving you good hope in terms of how this roster ends up settling?
Yeah, I would kind of put it like this. I think it's really easy in life and in sports to get caught up in the bad things. It's always easier to feel sorry for yourself or feel bad for your team when they do miss out on what people think is going to be a generational pitcher, and when they don't bring back a great clubhouse guy, and when they had to trade away Juan Soto, who's going to be, a Hall of Famer probably in the future. All that's easy to go, oh man, that's really tough to take in, and we feel bad for ourselves. But let's not forget that Manny Machado is on this roster, that Fernando Tatis Jr. is on this roster, that Vander Bogaerts is on this roster, that they have the 3-time batting champ on this roster, that they still have some great pitchers on this roster. It's easy to look at what you don't have. That's the world we live in. That's human nature. But it's also hard to see what you do have. And they got a damn good roster still. And I'm sure, I promise you, this is not the complete roster that they're going to be working with. They got a kid who should have won Rookie of the Year. I just think there's a lot of really good pieces still left on this roster. It doesn't help when your biggest rival's doing what they're doing. But this is going to be a competitive team, even if they go into the year right now. Yes, there are big holes. Yes, this is a good roster.
Jake, what would you do in terms of trying to fill some of those holes right now? We've heard so many trade ideas, Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz. Obviously, the free agent list is starting to dry up a little bit. Where do you think the Padres should pivot to from here in the 2 months before the start of this season?
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I do think the Dylan Cease thing might be a very realistic option. I thought maybe if the Padres did get Sasaki, it would be, all right, let's run it with the guys we got, and let's see what kind of damage we can do with this unbelievable rotation. But you may have to see, now it won't be the haul that Juan brought in, Juan Soto, but you may have to see what you can get and, get more assets for value like you did with Juan in a Cease situation. I also think that people may not know the answer that they're looking for, like we didn't know when Preller brought in Michael Wacha, and like when they re-signed Profar, for the $1 million and the Seth Lugos, and pieces that he's seemingly gotten from different places, and everyone thought, hey, maybe Jackson Merrill's ready, but AJ Preller said, oh, he's ready, and look what he did. So I think sometimes people look for the answers that are very obvious when AJ Preller's so good at the answers that are in between the lines.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be an obvious choice out there, but certainly, there's those holes are going to have to be filled as we move closer to spring training. What are you looking forward to most as the Padres start to report here in less than a month?
I mean, I baseball being back. I know, like, the three of you guys are probably like me, where it's a part of your life. It's a part of your routine. I mean, we love to kind of live and die with this team day in and day out and have those conversations. And I'm excited to have that back. I'm excited to get out there to spring training and see what the mindset of these guys is going to be. I think, wow, the fans, it's always the sky is falling and the Dodgers have created this super team that nobody's going to beat for the next 35 years. And we might as well not go out on the field and try. In fact, let's just bring up the El Paso Chihuahuas because we stand no chance against the Dodgers. The players do a good job of kind of bringing reality back into that clubhouse. And Tony, I've heard you say it a million times. Baseball is a hard sport. You can do anything you want on paper. That doesn't mean when you get out there on the field that's the results you're going to get. And I think that there'll be a bit of a calming effect when I get out there at spring training, when you all get out there too, and you kind of realize where the team's mindset's at, and just excited to get back to baseball and get back to playing. And one thing people aren't talking about with all the Dodgers stuff is that, hey man, pressure's all in their court, right? Everyone else is playing with house money now. They have to go win 6 straight World Series or it's a failure, isn't it? I mean, that's the picture that's been painted.
Jake Garriani from CBS 8 here in San Diego. Jake, one good bit of news today. For those watching around the country and tuning in for the greatest weather on earth, the golf tournament is in a weather delay because of the crazy winds in La Jolla. So maybe that'll keep a few people from moving out here. Golf, San Diego, big weekend, and maybe we get another one with the Genesis. So that's still up in the air, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing is confirmed, Chris, but I can say with what I think is a lot of confidence that the Genesis will come down here and probably be played at Torrey, which will be another great event for San Diego, obviously keeping in mind why it's coming down and understanding that. But it'll be good, another representation of San Diego. And it was beautiful out there at Torrey today. I'm glad I'm in the shop, or beautiful at Torrey yesterday. Glad I'm in the shop today because those winds look pretty nasty out there. But yeah, I think the Genesis will be out here, and it's been interesting. I don't know how much you guys have paid attention to the Farmers. The field is obviously not what it's been in years past, for a multitude of reasons, but it's still been pretty exciting golf for those. I know, Scraby, you're a big golf guy. It's still been pretty fun golf.
It has been fun golf, and the Genesis coming down here. Jason Day kind of let the cat out of the bag too, by saying if the city wants to have it, we want to be here, kind of thing. So it does look like the Genesis is coming here.
Hopefully it does.
It's also a better field too. Genesis has more big names in the field, so they're going to be down here playing, and you get to go see them.
Well, either way, you might have a chance to get two of these very special tournaments on the PGA Tour out here in San Diego.
Bring them all to San Diego.
I don't think anybody would.
I'm going to go play one on Riverwalk.
I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. Jake, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. We'll check back in with you later as we get closer to spring.
Hey, fellas, you know you're the best. LO, one of these days, I'm going to get your love, my friends. The three of you, take care. Appreciate you all very much, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys kick ass, man. Take care.
Thank
you, Jake. You too.
Jake Garriani, there, CBS 8, not CBS News. I wish he had that kind of promotion. He did that.
Maybe he will. Maybe you've
speaking
lit
into
a fire
existence
under somebody out there. Yeah, you never know.
Nonetheless, listen. Going back to the Profart thing. There are some fans that are asking the question, at least I see on my feed, why couldn't we pay the 3 years $42 million?
Because that's a lot of money for a player who's not going to probably give you.
So you don't believe it? You think you would need to see it a few more times before you become a believer?
I mean, as much as I love Jurickson, he has a lot of mileage because he's been playing Major League Baseball since he was like 19.
Yeah.
So he's played a ton of games. And we saw last year, second half of the year, his knee bothered him.
He got hit by 18 pitches last year. Every time he turned around, he was getting the ball thrown at his head.
Here's the one thing I'm going to miss about him the most, is that he's the guy who is like the happy-go-lucky guy outside the lines, but when you're inside the lines, you do not mess with the Padres.
He was kind of our bulldog.
He was. That's what they're going to miss.
I know he may not come off as like that guy you don't want to mix it up with, but he had his nose in the middle of everything.
Keibert Ruiz, he was right there.
Yes, he was ready for all the smoke.
He was ready. That's something that they're going to miss.
I think you're right.
So you're saying, Scrape, before we move on from this a little bit, you're saying that if the Padres had endless pay, salary this year,
yes,
much like, let's say, 2 years ago, that you would have passed on Profar anyway.
I mean, if money's not an object, then yeah, sure, bring Profar back.
Well, I don't know. You just said this is a bad contract, so why would the Padres want a bad contract
in this way? That there is a huge gamble for him to play these 3 years at the level he played last year.
I think that's fair. But given what he has shown in a Padre uniform, I feel a little safer. I would have felt a little more comfortable.
Because he plays well for the Padres.
He plays well. He's played better than he's played anywhere else here. And so, I'm happy for Jurickson, though, man. He if there's anybody out there who deserved the money, the bag. I was gonna go normal, but
you
since
love
you said
the bag.
The bag, he definitely was that guy. So, as sad as I am to see him go, I'm super happy for the guy.
Well, who are the free agents remaining? Alex Verdugo?
That's
I
a
mean,
pivot.
I'm just trying to figure out some names here that we.
That was the
Scraby
name-
brought up Alcantara. I appreciate that. I'll bring up.
That's kind of pie in the sky right now.
I'll bring up
Bregman?
yeah. I'll bring up anybody that's won a Cy Young previously, but
Pete Alonso?
Listen, I think that's a pivot. Certainly.
What about I think I'm saying his name wrong. Tirso Ornelas?
Yeah.
I've seen a
the young
lot
guy.
of
The young guy.
fans very convinced that he's going to be playing left field for the Padres.
He might
this
be.
year. Is he ready?
I mean, I think he's the closest out of anybody down there. Yeah, I don't know what his left field game is like.
Could Fernando move to left, or you want to keep him in right?
I don't think you move Fernando.
Can Fernando play catcher, or do you want to keep him in right?
I don't think you move Fernando.
real quick, I just got a list of left fielders. Here they are: Mark Canha, Austin Hayes, Phillies. Before that, the Orioles. Mostly a fourth outfielder. I mentioned Verdugo. Tommy Pham, he's always there. Travis Jankowski, former Padre. Adam Duvall, slugger, but former slugger kind of. David Peralta, still out there. Ben Gamble, Robbie Grossman, Eddie Rosario, Dylan Carlson. Those are some of the left fielders that are still available.
It might look like a 2-for-1,
What
right?
about Eggy?
You get a lefty and a righty. You
Could
can
do that.
platoon cheaper. Don't have to pay him as much.
E-guy?
Shut up.
No, seriously, Eggy. I mean, when he came up last year, I thought he played well. I'm not kidding.
He's just trying to poke the bear.
You know what you said.
Oh, E-guy.
Yeah.
He's trying to poke the bear.
Just trying
That's
to have
what you
fun
do.
today on such a depressing
He said
day.
E-guy? Let's
Sorry,
get to
Chris.
break.
Chris
On the other
is
side.
going to hit me by the end of the show.
3 o'clock hour. Hey, so far, what is it? 1, 2, 3 for 3 right now and getting out on time.
Our breaks.
Yeah.
Yes, we're trying real hard, guys.
3 o'clock hour on the way.
o'clock. Right on the money. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks to Jake Garriani, who doesn't think I like him.
Where does that come from?
It'd be the very first time he came on the air and joined us. He said I didn't like him. So I've been fighting against that for all the time that I've known him.
I thought Scrady made that up, so he said that on his first time.
He just said he doesn't think I like him. So I didn't know. I don't know where he came up with that, but sorry you feel that way, Jake. We appreciated having on, and you were outstanding as always. We kick off the 3 o'clock hour with our daily gambit. Do want to get into what is going on up in La Jolla right now because they've been in a weather delay for a while.
Since 2:05.
Yeah, so they're coming up on an hour. Golfers are pretty much all just standing around waiting for. I mean, the wind has to be really bad, does it not, Scraby, to actually shut down the round? Because golfers do play in windy conditions.
I mean,
from time to time.
They play in the UK and Scotland, and
the wind
crazy.
is knocking trees down.
So this must be like some sort of.
There might be a little.
dust.
It might be a dangerous situation, something like that.
It could be because trees could come down or something like that. But I would think that dust would be an issue. We saw a bunch of dust flying around, and now they're going to hit some golf balls, so it looks like they're going to come back.
Well, hopefully they'll get going here shortly. Ludwig Aberg.
I found out I've been pronouncing his name wrong. Ludwig Oberg.
Oberg.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Scraby.
How did you find this out?
I was listening to the broadcast earlier, and they kept saying Oberg.
Maybe they're
like,
wrong.
I don't think they are.
Did you ever think that?
I don't think they are.
At what point did it catch you like, oh, wait a minute. Am I been saying it wrong? How many times
The
did they say
first time
Oberg?
he said it.
Oh.
I noticed this stuff because we have to pronounce things right. And immediately when he said it, I've been saying his name wrong for years. So Oberg.
It couldn't be that long. He's only been on the tour for like a week and a half.
True.
Last year was the first time in years. I mean, we never heard of him before he
Okay, that is a good point, Chris.
made
I'll
a run
give
of
you
the
that.
PGA.
Chris's point is really good.
Yeah, it happens. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully they'll get back to work in round 2 of the Farmers. And we will, in the next segment for sure, be able to break down the Aztecs' survival last night at Air Force. I will say, as an official, a referee, I was embarrassed for those guys.
Yeah, that's what
absolutely embarrassed for those guys that worked last night.
You know how I feel about Mountain West Conference
I know.
officials. I don't dog officials often, but too often these type of games happen.
They happen
in the Mountain
way too
West.
often in the Mountain West. And if you look, they can say whatever they want, and people that watch the game, can look at it any way you want. And I will blame the Aztecs for some of it.
They were fouling.
You have to play defense without fouling.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you are an officiating crew and you go back in after the game and you realize that you called 55 fouls in a 45-minute game, that is way more than one per minute.
Yeah.
You didn't do. There was something you did. Look, talk them out of some fouls. Do something, but don't blame. Go in during timeouts and the huddles and say, "Hey guys, let's stop fouling." Whatever you got to do, but you can't call 55 fouls in 45 minutes.
Yeah, going back, I told you I didn't tune in until after, but I had the game obviously taped.
Yeah,
I mean, typically you can kind of move through the game when it's free flowing.
Oh yeah,
but it was stopping so
never
much.
Free-flowed,
at one point, I had to stop it to see if there was something happening, more than just fouls.
Yeah, there were just fouls.
Yeah.
All right. So that said, let's check in on some of the other winners, losers. Oh, by the way, the big story of the day, if you just happen to be tuning in, it's bad news, but we spent the first hour on it. Jurickson Profar signs with the Braves. Okay, I'll let that sink in to those who didn't know. Now, let's go to the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Someone on the chat said there is a fire in Gilman Canyon on the other side of UCSC, so that may be why they're delaying some of the golf. We'll listen to Kelly Danick here at the end of the segment. She'll give you the update on everything. All right, so let's review the bets we did last night. Aztecs were 13.5-point favorites in that game against Air Force. And we know the Aztecs won, but they only won by 1 point. So Chris is the only one who wins this bet when he took Air Force.
I just couldn't give that many points at altitude. I didn't expect the rest of it to take place. I just thought the altitude would be the issue. That's why I picked Air Force, but I'm just saying.
USF at St. Mary's game is tonight, Chris.
Yes, it is. So we'll have it in the
They're still going to lose.
Daily Gambit this evening. You know, it's funny. The point spread went up 2 points, though, from yesterday.
Now it's 10.5?
Yeah. It was 8.5 yesterday. Now you're going to have
What happened?
I don't know. But
someone got hurt?
It just went up, so.
Miami at Stanford. Stanford 11-point favorites. We all went with the Cardinal, and Stanford destroyed Miami 88-51.
Miami gave up 117 points in their last game. They're 0-8 in the ACC. It is a bad year, Jesse Agler.
Is a coach really that important?
That's true. Their coach left right in the middle of the season. Yeah, I don't know. It's not working out for him. Whatever.
Side note, do you think he should have just stuck it out through the rest of the year instead of quitting mid-season?
Did he quit mid-season, or is he retiring at the end of the season? Was it?
No, he walked out.
He walked out.
He had
walked
a press
away.
Conference.
But
couldn't take it.
Yeah, he didn't like the. He said he didn't like the direction of college basketball.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe he didn't like the direction of his team, and he didn't want to go 0-8.
He knew it was going.
Maybe he
coming.
just saw what was
Is he
coming.
going to spring up at like Kentucky next year or something?
We know that'll piss you off.
Oh,
It
it will,
be
because
happy
you
with
know
that.
what? Be a man of your word, Bruce Arians. Celtics at Clippers. Celtics were 12-point favorites, and I chose the Celtics. You guys chose the Clippers. Celtics won by 4, so you guys win that one, 117-113. Who had more points, Anthony Edwards at the Dallas Mavericks or LaMelo Ball at the Memphis Grizzlies? You guys chose Anthony Edwards. I chose LaMelo. LaMelo eked it out 22-21 over Anthony Edwards.
Those always seem to come up close.
They
don't
do. They do.
Yeah.
Sabalenka and Badosa over. This is tennis.
Very good.
Over under 21.5 games in this one. Chris went under. Tony and I went over, and we were wrong, Tony. It was 6-4, 6-2, so that's 18 games.
Sabalenka is an absolute machine, and she's going to be really hard to beat in the finals. But Madison Keys in the second semifinal. Did you guys
Oh, yeah, we're about to talk about
catch any
it.
wind of it?
I did.
She played an incredible match and beat Swiatek
Yep.
in a thrilling
Yeah.
third set tiebreak all
Yeah.
the way to the wire.
Yep.
Very exciting.
She got off to a great start, hit a snag. It was going left, and
It was
then
going south,
and
yeah.
then she figured it out, turned it up, able to win. I saw that this morning. I was
Good
like,
for her.
You
Good
guys
for
won that
Keys.
bet because Swiatek was favored by 5.5 games in
Yeah.
this one, so it wasn't even
Keys
close.
won outright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, UNLV women minus 14.5 at Fresno State. All of us went with the UNLV team, and they won handily 73-48.
Yeah, and they're coming here Saturday, having won 52 of their last 53 conference games, UNLV women. That's
Wow.
pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple of minutes. Let's run through some of our bets. I was 6-1 last night. You guys were right around 500. Tonight, Celtics at Lakers. Celtics favored by 6.5. Tony, I know where you're going.
you already know Lakers are going to cover at least.
At least cover, Scraby. 6.5. Celtics. You're going with the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. The pride of the Lake Show against the Celtics at home. They got to win this one. Golden State, kind of your club, Scraby.
Kinda.
1.5 points over my club, the Bulls. Game is in Oakland.
In
Scraby.
or San Francisco.
Or San Francisco, yeah. Only
I-
1.5. Is Curry out or is somebody out? Golden State's much better than
I think
Chicago.
What's
but
his face? Draymond is in and out of the lineup
All
these
right.
days. I will go with Golden State.
I hate to pick against the Bulls, but this just seems like a gimme. I'm going to take Golden State, too. Only 1.5 points. At home? Tony?
At home?
You're
Against the
playing tonight?
Bulls?
Tonight, yeah.
Didn't they just play last night?
I think Golden State played last night, so they're playing a back-to-back.
Yeah, I'll take the Bulls.
Taking the Bulls. Bancaro, I
They
think he's...
changed minds. You got Golden State for me. I don't want Golden State. The
oh.
Bulls.
Okay.
Type it in right, Scrabe. Paolo Bancaro returning to action for Orlando. Will he score more points against Portland tonight or Trae Young versus Toronto? I'm going to say Trae Young because Bancaro's still working his way back. Tony? Trae Young. There we go. Tony Gwynn Jr. Trae Young or Paolo Bancaro?
Give me Paolo.
Paolo.
Hooper.
He is a hooper. Number 1 overall pick, and he's proved that he was worthy of it. Scraby?
I'll never forget when that reporter thought he was Patrick Mahomes and interviewed him. I will never forget. And Paolo went with it. I'm going to go Paolo. I don't know why I feel that
Paolo
way.
for that. LeBron, 38.5 points, rebounds, assists.
38.5.
Tony's to get over that? You're first.
Ooh, 30.
Isn't he like one of the, there's only 2 players in NBA history to have a triple-double over the age of 40? It's him and like Karl Malone, maybe?
You got me.
It's the Celtics. Yes.
He's got to do it. Scraby, over or under 38.5 points, assists.
He just came off a great game,
rebounds.
so I'm going to go over.
Over. I hope he proves me wrong, but 2010, he'd need 8 rebounds. That's too many. I'll say under. St. Mary's, 10.5 over USF. It was 8.5 yesterday.
Oh, we're
Scraby.
changing it up.
Yeah, we're doing what the spread is now.
Okay.
10.5. You get USF, you get more points.
I will take USF now.
All right, I'll still take St. Mary's. They know something. Tony?
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. Djokovic, semifinals, Australian, 2.5 games, favored over the number 2 seed, Zverev. Until somebody beats him, I still say Djokovic, even though he's 7 seed. Tony?
What's the other guy's name?
Alexander Zverev.
Zverev. That's who I
Yeah,
want.
starts with a Z.
Give me him.
Starts with a Z and a V. Too many
It
words
starts with
that
a
start
Z
with those
and a
2
V,
letters.
yeah.
Scraby, who you want?
I'll take
Hurry up.
Zverev.
Zverev. Okay, we're out checking traffic. We're 4 for 4 making our break on time.
Wow, look at this, guys.
From the 855, get Ross.
execute San Diego State to inbound. Nobody defending the ball. Got to catch it on the run. DeGorville inbounds. McKinney, 2 seconds, all the way to the basket. Layup, around and down. Count it.
No way!
At the horn, and San Diego State survives.
Wayne McKinney III.
Pretty good description of how it felt when it was over. That they survived.
You know what I thought of right there? Tyus Edney.
Everybody did. I actually think the guys on the broadcast brought him up.
I didn't hear them say that.
Yeah, Tyus Edney, who at UCLA way back when.
Against Missouri.
And they ended up winning the national championship because of that play that Tyus Edney made early in the tournament. But it was a great play designed by Dutcher or his staff, whoever. You set the screen at midcourt so he can free up from the guy guarding him. But Air Force did an awful job. All they had to do is get one guy even remotely in McKinney's way.
I mean, even just making the inbound pass more
and they
difficult.
didn't guard the inbound
guard
pass. It just let him throw it in easily. So thank you, Air Force, for that. The Aztecs, the biggest issue to me, and we already panned the officiating, so I'm not going to go there again. 55 fouls were called in the game.
Was Eric Curry on the
he was not,
on the whistle last night? Is that what they call it when you're reffing on the whistle?
Whistle watch.
They say on the call for announcers?
You can be on the call as a ref, too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you can be on the call. Now, Vern Harris is one of the officials last night. He's a Final Four referee. One of the others was Randy McCall, who has been at it for decades. And I believe that Dutcher finds him to be one of the more tolerable referees.
It's bad when you got to tolerate him.
Right. I don't know who the third guy was, but it was a bad night for them. However, that said, Aztecs, you cannot be a good defensive team if you can't guard without fouling. And you have to just learn how to do this.
And guess what? If your two best guards foul out because they're doing too much handsy, not enough.
Too much
feet
hands, yeah. They weren't sliding the feet, etc. Tony,
that put the Aztecs behind
in
a
a
ball.
hole.
I mean, they shot 22% from 3-point land in that ball game. So you add that with the fouls, you're just slowing the game up for a team that is really overmatched.
That can't keep up with you.
Yeah. You allowed that game to be ugly by fouling so much.
Yeah. And Air Force, shot, lights out for them. And Brian Dutcher is correct after the game. He said Air Force beats somebody every year. I don't know if you remember last year. They went to the pit and beat New Mexico. And it was like their only win of the year. So Air Force kind of does this from time to time, and the Aztecs got out of there with a win. So that part was good. The other thing I wanted to point out is the attention to detail that I guarantee you will be pointed out to this team in the film sessions following the game. And my example of it, on the final play of overtime for Air Force. Now, you tuned in right at this moment, Tony. The Aztecs led by 2. Air Force got the ball. They missed the shot, but the kid came in from the weak side and grabbed the rebound, and he got fouled.
Yeah.
That set up the free throw and the tap-in that looked like Air Force was going to win. Well, Taj DeGorville, who had a great game as a freshman, did not even remotely come close to boxing this kid out.
Nope.
And these are the little things that you've got to do. And those are the things that they normally do. But you still got freshmen. You still got a young team.
I was just
it's a little
ready
different
to say
than
that.
It's been in the past.
We got to kind of pull ourselves back because I think what happened was this year got going way faster than I think we expected it to.
You're right. I mean, they beat Houston, for heaven's sakes.
Right. And so we've seen what they can look like at their best, but they are still a young team that's out there. And that doesn't, just because the start is good doesn't mean you don't eventually go through some of those normal young mistakes that we've seen. It's lack of attention to detail. And you've seen that rear its head in the losses, and it reared its head last night. Aztecs were just fortunate enough to end up with the ball last and have the Air Force team just kind of part the Red Sea for them.
They parted the Red Sea. Fly through the great blue yonder, I think, is the Air Force song, something like that. And give McKinney credit. He had the ball at the end of the loss to Utah State. I don't know if you recall. Utah State hit the 3 to take the lead. McKinney got the ball and dribbled up the court, yet he settled for like a fall-away 25-foot jumper. And he said after the game that he was determined not to do that again. He learned from it and got it to the rim and finished it. So good for Wayne McKinney III, local kid, I believe, from Coronado High School, who got the win for the Aztecs last night. And look, Ziegler wrote that saved their season. The loss would have been so devastating in the metrics that they could have never probably made it as an at-large team. Unless they had won every game the rest of the way.
But what about the game against Houston? Everybody told me that was their ticket to the
Yes,
to March
but you
Madness.
can wipe that out with a loss like this.
to Air Force, right?
You can wipe that out.
They have now, 2 losses that they probably shouldn't have on their resume.
Who's the other one?
I don't know. I mean, UNLV,
I guess
they're saying shouldn't be on their resume, but UNLV beat Utah State also. They might be a little better than we think.
UNLV has a chance to keep playing good and make that loss not as bad.
Correct.
But if they'd have lost to Air Force, I don't know that you can recover in terms of...
It's pretty tough to lose to a team like that in the conference that the Aztecs are in.
Right.
They can't afford. So that might have saved it from being a win the conference tournament or else type of season.
How's my guy doing, Magoon?
Magoon Gwath is a work in progress, which is exactly what Mark Ziegler told us he would be, and the coaches told us he would be. He has moments, number one. Number two, do not try a layup in his neighborhood. He will send it back.
He's going to get it.
He will send it back.
No.
He's a really good block shot guy.
The foul thing, I think, actually started the game before against UNLV.
Okay.
They had some of those same silly fouls that you were hoping were just kind of a one-off for that game, but it certainly continued in that Air Force game. I mean, your best players got to stay out of foul trouble, because what it also does is it messes up the rhythm of the rest of the team. If you don't have your 2 best guards in there, you don't have your big guy in there that are normally there for the offensive flow, it's tough to keep any rhythm, especially when the game is stopping that much, as we talked about.
Miles Bird was way off his game. Nick Boyd, neither of them were on their game last night. Now, they go to Nevada Saturday. Nevada's not having a great start to the season, but, it's Alford, and it's still a little altitude, so it's not easy. They're coming home. They came home, actually, after the game. They'll go back to Nevada. Then they get San Jose State and Wyoming at home. At Colorado State, and then San Jose State again. They could put together a little run, hopefully, but you can't, with this young team, you can't look at it like, we can look at it like that. They can't. They have to play game by game. And the one last thing I wanted to say, for those who look at that game last night and say, wow, this is not going to be our season, even though we won that game, I draw your attention to last year's game at San Jose State, right at the beginning of the season. Do you remember Jay Powell made that incredible block shot? Yeah. Saved the game. The Aztecs won by 3 because they hit a couple of free throws. And San Jose State was terrible last year. And the Aztecs barely beat them, went on to the Sweet 16. So, never can tell. Dutcher's still the guy. Still gets it done.
And if they win the Mount West tournament,
then you're in no matter what.
Right. Doesn't matter, right.
But when they said save the season, I think they were referring to the fact that would have then been their only hope.
Gotcha.
And this way, they still have at large possibilities. They did fall in the
palm,
whatever that is.
Yeah.
Is it Ken Palm?
The metric.
Ken Palm, yeah.
They call it the metric. They went from, I think, 35 to 47. I mean, they fell because of the game was so close last night, even though they won. So,
no bueno.
I hate those metrics.
No, I mean, that's...
Unfortunately, that's what they look at. I'm not disagreeing with you, Scrape, because, I mean, there's so many factors that go into the games. And as the game was ending, I was thinking, Duke goes on the road in the ACC, plays a lesser team, but they don't have to deal with the altitude. They don't have to deal with the bus rides and the trip up the mountain and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
These games, we've said it before, Mountain West travel is unlike any other conference, and I think it's fair to say that.
That makes a big difference to me.
I think it does.
Is that the first? No, they played in altitude already this year, right?
They played New Mexico, but that's a little lower altitude than Air Force is over 6,000 feet.
Yeah,
it's way up there.
Wow. I was just making a point that it takes some time to get used to that. It certainly might have been a factor, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
All right, let's slide to break. When we come back, got a potpourri of different sports news.
30-mile zone. There's something happening with the medals that were won at the Olympics in France that I think is quite crazy.
Oh, I got to hear this.
Yes.
Can't wait. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
5 for 5, Scrape.
Coming up on Friday.
is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby, Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. We'll get back to it here in a second, just as they are getting back to it apparently at the Farmers after a hour-and-a-half weather delay. That does not mean, though, that there is some fire danger from what we understand in the La Jolla area. Is it Dorothy?
In several different parts of the county.
So let's get
Dorothy, yes.
Yeah, Dorothy, give us a little update just for the folks out there to be careful.
Dorothy Tran reporting for Odyssey San Diego. The Gilman fire just erupted over in the La Jolla area, and evacuations have been ordered for the areas bordered by La Jolla Village Drive to the north, La Jolla Parkway to the south, Gilman Drive to the east, and Torrey Pines Road to the west. If you're in the areas between La Jolla Shores Drive and Torrey Pines Road, evacuation warnings have been issued. Those requiring extra time or who have pets and livestock should leave now. A couple of road closures to be aware of. La Jolla Village Drive has been shut down at the Interstate 5 connector, and traffic is also being blocked along Gilman Drive. To the south, there is a fire over on Otay Mountain. This is being called the Border 2 fire. As of right now, it does not pose a threat to residents. Stay tuned for updates as the story develops.
Dorothy, thank you for that. And I think we've already mentioned, and we'll continue to mention, to be careful out there. Dry and wind, not a good combination when it comes to fire season. All right, so how is that affecting traffic, Scraby, before we get to...
give Kelly, actually, I just looked. Give her...
Unfortunately, she's got to put a few more things in there, probably.
I'll watch it.
The update on the Torrey Pines scoreboard as they get back underway. Scraby's guy, Ludwig Oberg.
Good job.
Is 7 under.
Not Aberg.
Not Aberg. As we've thought for the last dozen or so years.
Scraby had us believing Oberg. Wait, no. Aberg is what you were calling him, yeah.
He's got the lead at 7 under.
I felt smart, too.
A bunch of Americans are chasing him. Hayden Springer, 6 under. Lanto Griffin, 5 under.
Isn't that a great name?
What, Lanto?
Lanto Griffin.
I'm glad you like it.
It makes me think of, like, Star Wars.
All right. Luke, how about this one? Luke Clayton.
Oh, Luke.
Or Clanton.
Oh, he's an amateur.
He's an amateur. He's 5 under. Joel Damon. Everybody's ever watched that PGA show on Netflix knows Joel Damon.
Full swing.
Full swing. He's the guy that finishes like in 20th place every tournament.
And he's happy.
And he never wins.
He's like, I'm not good enough to win, so I'll just make some money going
He makes
20th.
A ton of money by finishing 20th.
This is like the real Happy Gilmore right there.
He's only 3 shots back. Our guy, Charlie Hoffman, still in the hunt. Charlie, -1 for the tournament. He's on the 13th hole of the South Course today. A tough go in those conditions.
I can't even imagine how hard the South Course is with this wind, because the average score on that course I saw before the delay was 75, which is crazy.
That's for professionals.
Yes.
All right, we got traffic, and then we got your 30-mile zone. So let's find out what's happening there, Scrabe.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Got a few problems here, guys. Northbound side of the 15th been hit with a crash before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. Got a couple cars involved. They're over to the left shoulder. Also, southbound side of the 5 before Civic Center, an accident blocking the 2 left lanes. We're also getting reports of a collision on westbound 94 at Hamashaw. A couple vehicles involved with that right lane blocked. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less, plus get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
Why do you always give me that look when that little disclaimer happens, Tony?
I just find it funny.
Okay. You're not like looking at me like...
No, I don't think you're doing nothing nefarious.
Okay, great. Let's get started with the Paris Olympic medals. Now, I think they look more established and they look like they are a lot older.
You're talking about the actual look of the medal itself.
Here, guys. Look at what the medals look like now, Tony.
Wait,
see?
Which one, on the right or left?
It's the same one. It's the front and the back.
Oh, so,
yeah, we saw this a little bit after the actual Olympics. There were some people shortly thereafter.
So people don't like them?
They're saying more than 100 athletes have complained to the International Olympic Committee.
That's how I read it.
They have visible signs of crumbling, staining, and surface wear. The Tokyo ones 3 years earlier were a lot better, and a lot of these athletes are trying to get new medals. According to French investigative outlet La Leche, a defective varnish seems to be the reason for the degraded appearance of the medals. The varnishes were switched as the old one reportedly contained chromium trioxide,
Can't have that chromium trioxide
oxidizer that happens to also be a carcinogen, so you can't have
gotta
that.
get rid of it.
Can't have that.
I will say this: I have been lucky enough to see a medal.
Ooh.
My Uncle Chris, who was on the '84 baseball
Got a silver?
team, got a silver medal.
I was at the game. He earned the silver.
He
didn't actually earn the silver. He lost the gold. Sorry, Chris.
Right. His medal looked about as good a shape this many years later
as this one
some
does?
of those do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is over 30 years at this point.
But that's my point.
No,
is
his
that
medal's 40 years old.
His medal is 40 years old.
Yeah.
This medal is a few months old.
So you're saying Paris cheapskated these guys?
Well, they changed the varnish.
Because of the chromium
trioxide.
Chromium
duh.
trioxide.
I feel like I'm in Aaron Brockovich right now.
I feel you.
But the medals were designed by Chaumet, part of some sort of metal making or jewelry making group. All have a piece of iron taken from the Eiffel Tower. I think that's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
That's cool, but
clearly doesn't help the medal.
But apparently the medal is so bad, the piece of Eiffel Tower has fallen out.
Okay,
Nobody
here's
seems
the
happy
last
with
thing.
it.
Here's the statement.
Those medals look like what would turn your neck green if you put it on.
Totally.
That's what it looks like.
Yes, you're going to grow a third eye if you put that medal anywhere near you. La Monnaie de Paris has taken the issue of damaged medals very seriously since the first exchange request in August and has mobilized its internal teams. They're going to replace the damaged medals at the athlete's request during the first quarter of 2025.
That's now?
Yes, right now.
Right now.
So
you got the first quarter. So January, February, March. You got to get it in.
So the big joke is, did the medals just sit in the Seine River because it had all that sewage in it? They just sat the medals in the river the entire time?
The Seine River, very good, Scrape.
Thank you,
After
thank you.
Seine and Seine, you got it.
Yes, Seine. It was my third try.
I say if you win a medal, be happy with it and go home.
I say
fair.
that.
That's fair.
Except for, if they
I mean,
didn't varnish
it might be
it
your one
correctly.
time to go. You might want to be able to have
If you don't like it, then try to finish fourth.
That's right.
There's an easy way around this.
Thurman Thomas. Now, one thing that comes to mind about Thurman Thomas that I will never forget. Thurman Thomas was one of the only running backs I've ever seen wear the lineman face mask with the bar in between the eyes.
So you couldn't do the Three Stooges eye poke.
What is it?
You couldn't do that. Thurman Thomas was a fantastic running back. I loved watching Thurman Thomas play back when I was a kid.
It's funny that that's what you remember.
I mean, I remember him being great. But
Yeah, he was
also,
great, but there's another thing that he's known for even more than those things.
I think I know this, but I can't remember.
He lost his helmet before the start of the Super
That's
Bowl,
true.
and
That's right.
when they
That's
ran
true.
out to start the game, he couldn't play.
That is
Jim
crazy.
Kelly turned around to hand off to Kenneth Davis and was like, "Where is Thurman Thomas?"
You know what I do remember was the broadcasters talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, Thurman Thomas not in the game.
Yeah, where is he? What's the problem? He's the best player in football.
I mean, these
Lost
days,
his helmet
these
right before
days,
the start of the game.
You're going to the 53rd guy on the roster. You're saying, "Give me your helmet."
Something.
Right.
Get him in there.
They probably have two helmets at this point.
For someone like Thurman
Yeah,
Thomas,
for sure.
absolutely, because we saw Jameis Winston's helmet break during a game, so they need that. All right, here is what Thurman Thomas said, and he was asked if he would jump through some tables if the Bills won the Super Bowl.
Would I be willing to jump through a table? I might jump through 3 or 4. That has been kind of the question that people, I've been doing these interviews for the past couple of weeks, and they've always said, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, will you jump through a table? And I've asked all my former teammates, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, and they were like, yeah, we would jump through a table. So the answer.
I would pay to see those 4 guys jump through a table.
I would pay for Jim Kelly not to.
Yeah, I don't want to see Jim do it.
Yeah.
Hey, if Jim feels good enough to do it, let Jim do it.
You know, when I think of Buffalo, what was their head coach's name?
Marv Levy.
Marv Levy, yeah.
I used to worry. I heard my mom say it one time, and I was worried as a kid from that point on. When they used to dump him with Gatorade.
He looked like he was 97 years old at the time, didn't he?
-3 weather.
Yeah.
I used to think he was going to go into shock. Like, I honestly thought he would have a heart attack on the field.
He did.
I say that to say I don't want to see any of these older men suplexing through tables that are laid out. I think this could end bad. And I hope he was just speaking in out of
it hasn't ended bad. You know, Marv Levy is still alive at the age of 99.
Good for him.
Yeah. Clearly, he's got a good. I mean, he getting dosed in that kind of weather.
Maybe we should all get doused with water in that kind of weather.
I think that's the answer.
No, I don't want to see none of these guys. Maybe Andre. I see him around. Andre's
around.
He's still pretty young. He's still pretty young.
You know, it's so hard. I mean, I met Andre Reed once, and it was hard not to. Yeah, it was hard not to say. How do you feel about losing 4 Super Bowl? I mean, unfortunately, that's what everyone on that Bills. Andre Reed was a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
But he and Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly, they're all associated with losing 4 Super Bowls.
I tell you what.
So they all understand that if Buffalo wins, it would be a big deal to these guys.
I've heard Andre ask that question and answer it. He handles it as well as you could.
Yeah.
At this point, he's probably pretty well versed.
He's probably got it. Yeah. He's been asked enough.
All right. I would love to see those guys do that, but not Jim Kelly. You guys are right. Jimmy Butler. Things are getting crazy with Jimmy Butler. And they suspended him for 2 games for, I guess, missing a flight. Well, last night, he didn't really care because he was at some comedian party, yucking it up with everyone, having a good old time. And people are saying get the deal done, get him out of there, get him on a team he wants to be on. But I say, do your job.
Listen, I'm all for player empowerment, but I like what the Heat are doing here. I think it's very rare, especially in the NBA, where you get head coach and whoever the top of the NBA operations is on the same page. And it's not just those two. It's really everybody on the roster minus Jimmy Butler. If you go to Miami Heat, you know a couple things. You're going to condition probably more than you ever have in your entire NBA career, and that you are going to have to get in line with everybody else, no matter who you are. I think that doesn't mean that superstar players aren't given a little more leeway. Apparently, Jimmy Butler has flown privately more than a few times, and it's been okay. But that was when you were showing up to work and doing the rest of the things that you were being asked.
Yeah.
And so I think as much as this is a headache for, I'm sure, the team, I think Spoelstra's words today, if you heard him, were spot on. He told his team basically, get over it and get used to it. Because this is, as long as Jimmy's here, as long as the Heat don't get the type of deal they're looking for, they're not going to move him. And so that means that you may have a disgruntled player, and we might have to. I have no doubt that Pat Riley will continue to suspend him if he continues to keep missing flights or missing practice or disrupting. He doesn't care. He'll keep going.
The thing is, Scrape, I mean, of all people, I'm assuming you absolutely love this as well.
Love what the Heat are doing?
Yes, because how many times have you referenced the fact that you're tired of the players holding the squads hostage, especially in the NBA where you've got these really big superstars? This is one case where the superstar is not holding the team hostage in any way, shape, or form.
And this is something I tell you all the time, Scrape. They don't have to do what the player is asking.
Yeah.
Yes, your life might be difficult, but it's like, it's like raising kids. You could take the easy way out and let them go ahead and do whatever they were doing when they weren't supposed to be doing it. But you could also hold the line, have to deal with a little heartache right now, and set them straight for moving forward. This is how it should be.
The other part of it is we talk often, Tony does especially, and I listen to him, but on this, when a team signs a contract and the player doesn't keep his, can't
live up to that signing.
Live up to that signing, they still got to pay him the money.
Yeah.
Well, the player also signs the contract.
Yeah.
So he signed a deal to be with the Miami Heat through whenever he signed it.
And that's what Pat Riley
And the
is
Miami
saying.
Heat are saying, well, then you're still with us.
Right.
You
Listen,
signed that just the same way we signed. We got to pay you.
Right.
You're signed. You got to play or be here at least. Be part of the team.
You
whatever.
got a big option at the end of this year that you could more than welcome to decline if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, you're here. And listen, if we get a deal that we like and it's beneficial to us, we'll do it. Otherwise, hang with him, dog.
I do.
And I love Jimmy Butler. I just want to make that clear.
Oh, he's
I'm
one
a
of my
big fan
favorites.
of Jimmy Butler. But I don't think he's doing himself any favors right now.
He's definitely not doing
Bulls
himself
picked
any
him with the
favors.
last pick of the first round a long time ago, and I thought, who's that? And then I really thought, what a great pick. And I've missed him since they traded him away 10 years ago, and he proves why I miss him all the time, because he's always right there in the middle of things.
Do you guys want to hear something embarrassing about Jimmy Butler and me?
More than his hair?
Yeah. No, his hair's not embarrassing.
No, his
Or maybe.
hairstyles.
He did have the
crazy
emo
hairstyles.
The emo one, I do like that. No, when I went to go broadcast from Radio Row for the Super Bowl in Minnesota,
Oh, it was freezing. I remember you
it
telling
was
us.
so cold. But there was a guy walking around, and from behind he looked like Jimmy Butler. And I kept going to the guys. I was like, "Dude, that's Jimmy Butler right there." And one of the guys goes, "I don't think that's Jimmy Butler." I'm like, I swear that guy is Jimmy Butler. He plays for the T-Wolves. He's here doing interviews. Turns around, it was Emmanuel Ocho. Wasn't
Jimmy Butler even close to Jimmy Butler.
I should have waited to look at his face
Oh,
before I
my
claimed that
God.
Jimmy Butler was doing interviews in that whole thing. But
That's funny.
anyway, last night we got a good old-fashioned hockey fight. So go to
Oh,
your
we
screen,
did.
Chris, right now,
We
so you
did.
can see
This was a good one.
I didn't see it.
The Blue
I wanna
Jackets
see it.
against the Maple Leafs, and this was early. Game's 18:28 into the. It has 18:28 left in the first
A minute
period.
and a half into the game. 90
that's a
seconds
better
into
way
the
of
game.
saying it.
Yeah.
There you go. Scott.
Here is some of what was happening on TV.
See the sleeves being pulled up.
This will get it going. This is the first ever matchup between a couple
They're
of
just
the
kind of
super
sizing each
heavyweights,
other up.
Ryan Reeves and Mathieu Olivier.
Now some action.
Olivier's 10th fight of the year. It's the first for Reeves.
And now they're really
And
going.
Olivier has Reeves off balance, but
And now they're doing the rock and sock'em thing.
They really were.
Wow. This is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Scott.
Okay, no, it's over. I mean, they basically break it up after this because they're tired.
How
but-
about how good these guys? You know that when I was with the Gulls, maybe you would figure this out watching these guys, but the fighters on the Gulls used to practice fighting. And I don't mean by actually landing punches, but
Strategy.
by strategy and grabbing hold and how to keep your balance, how to throw punches and keep your balance on skates. If you get knocked down, how to get right back up on your skates. They work on it a lot. And you can tell these two guys
100%.
have done it millions of times before.
That was the first thing that stood out to me when I saw this last night
Yeah.
was, these two are very skilled in getting their shots off and not putting themselves in a position to get hit.
Yeah.
It was like, get a shot off, reposition the hands.
Yeah.
We'll fight a little
They
bit.
work at it.
Yeah, no, that was those were like some heavyweights too, right there.
Yeah,
That was pretty good.
That was a big
And
one.
the best part was they both knew when it was over and like just skated off and went
Yeah,
to
the referees were like, okay.
They didn't even have to break it up.
They
either.
were like, I'm tired.
Yeah, that is tiring because they went to the ground. And
Oh, they were good. The haymakers.
The best part is when they just each are punching each other at the same time in the face. It's like, it just keeps going. All right,
Yeah,
we
that's
have
a
to
good
fit
one.
this in for the last story of this segment. But
Tick, tick, tick,
Ichiro, whoa, that was the wrong one. Ichiro is a Hall of Famer now,
Yes, he
and
is.
we all know that there's one voter out there who apparently didn't think he was a Hall of Famer.
Well, it's not even apparent. I mean,
It's
somebody
fact.
didn't think he was, yeah.
And people are trying to get this person to admit who they are. They're never going to. Here's what Ichiro wants to
They are trying to shame me.
Yes,
right
they
now.
are. Everyone is.
Buster only tried to shame him on our show
Alan
yesterday.
Gonzalez tried to shame the person
Everybody
by saying,
is
come
out
on
there
out.
shaming him.
Here is what Ichiro wants to do when he finds out who this voter is.
I was able to receive many votes from the writers and grateful for them. But there's one writer that
His translator.
I wasn't able to get a vote from. I would like to invite him over to my house, and we'll have a drink together, and we'll have a good chat. Very, very grateful.
Yeah, so he said he would invite that
I'm
writer
not gonna
over to
lie.
have a
When you
drink.
first started talking, I was like, I've never heard Ichiro's voice before.
No,
Yeah,
that
that wasn't you
translator.
didn't hear.
That was a translator.
I would like to meet Ichiro. Maybe I'll just admit that I was the vote, even though I wasn't.
And you can
I
go
could go over and have a.
Not only can you meet, you can have a
I
drink.
can
with
have
him
a
at
nice
that
sit
point.
down and relax with Ichiro. Sure.
It would be awkward when I go, sorry, Ichiro, don't drink.
when I got in there, Diet Coke, please.
Yes. Can I have some water?
Well, that's me.
Hey, I like how he's handling this, because I would probably be pretty angry that one human being out there ruined my anonymous status.
He has whatever
Or,
right to be, but I
what's
think,
the word I'm looking for? Not anonymous.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Did you say anonymous?
Yes, he did.
I wish I'd have caught that. As much as you correct me when I butcher stuff, I wish I'd have been on that.
Anonymous is not unanimous.
No, it's not. Is it me?
Yes.
No, it's
Nope.
not.
No.
It's me, and we're 6 for 6.
This one doesn't count, though.
Oh, yes,
They all
it
count.
does. They count.
We're going to Chris vs. the Fans next. 833-288-0973. Play some trivia. You might end up going to Vegas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the 4 o'clock hour. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris L.O., Matt Scraby, Gwynn and Chris. Chris versus the fans. Up next, 833-288-0973. If you want to take down Mr. L.O., among the things that we have covered today, Jerickson Profar, no longer a free agent, now an Atlanta Brave.
Boo.
3 years, $42 million. He'll start at 12. He'll get to 15. He gets the bag. Padres lose an outfielder. Another hole is created.
If you want to hear our thoughts on all of that, it was basically just a depression segment at the opening of the show because it happened like a minute before we went on the air.
It did.
So,
yeah, it did. Literally, as we were walking in, setting up,
right,
our phones go off. So, Jerickson Profar, an Atlanta Brave. We finally get to hear from Mark Andrews, the tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, who had a key fumble and a couple of drops, including a 2-point conversion that would have tied the game to send it to OT. Finally spoke. And he did it via Instagram. Even though the shock and disappointment are unlike anything I've ever felt, I refuse to let the situation define me. I promise that this adversity will only make me stronger and fuel us as we move forward. He did not speak to reporters after the game. He did not speak, I think, in their
he didn't. Monday
their
wrap-up,
season
wrap-up.
Yeah, wrap-up meetings, which is uncharacteristic for Mark Andrews. He's been a guy who, early in the year, when he wasn't catching any balls, stood in front of his locker. This one clearly hit different. I don't mind this one. Like, it's
Cam
not
Newton
professional.
Was offended.
Huh?
Cam Newton was offended by him not talking to the media.
Yeah, easy does it, Cam.
I mean, yeah.
Pick up that fumble, will you?
He's also on our side of the things now, so he needs something to talk about.
No,
you know what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, he finally got a chance to speak, and he said what I think we all figured he was going to say.
You know, when I'm thinking it real quick, and then we got to get to it. I know, Scraby, but when they talk about Mark Andrews in this, it makes me realize that I'm not that psychotic of a fan. My wife thinks I am. You know, Bobby Scraby's family thinks he's a little crazy with the 49ers.
I yell a lot, yeah.
But have we ever sent a death threat?
No.
I mean, come
That's
on.
a great point. That's
I mean,
a great point for
people
both of you
send
guys. Yeah.
Death threats to these guys.
Yeah. It never even it'd been a thought.
No.
Like, I've never gone to their account like, should I?
Scraby maybe has. I don't know. Have you
had to talk yourself out of sending something?
I have never sent an athlete or an actor or actress anything
That's a great
rude
point.
like that.
I mean, we hear about those type of things on a daily basis.
Honey, you got to get a better attitude. Look, I didn't send a death threat.
Yeah, you could be that guy.
That's the bar right now.
Yeah.
Don't send death threats. You won't be a crazy fan. All right, let's get to some Chris versus the fan.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know Gen 4.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, everyone. The prize. Got to get back to it. You will be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip to Las Vegas to see, with Jerickson Profar leaving, I can't do it today, Scorpions on August 14th.
You don't have it in you?
I don't. Plus a 2-night stay at Planet Hollywood and a $100 gas card. Scorpions return with their 60 years of the Scorpions Las Vegas Residency Show live August 14th through the 23rd at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. The rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets it right, you are eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time
player,
let us know. That was very beautiful. Let us know before you get into the first question, and you will get that question for free.
Word up. Let's get to our first contestant then, Mr. Scraby.
You know, I don't know that we've ever had Dale on before.
Welcome to the show, Dale. It's first time?
Hello? No, second time.
Second time.
Okay.
I won the first time, and Scraby never sent me my prize to go to the rugby.
Well, I'm not responsible for sending the prizes, but I will check in with that because that's not cool.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
We had to see if we could take care of that.
Yes.
All right, Dale. Let's get to the first question.
Dale, you're playing for absolutely nothing.
You know what? Actually,
Just like last time.
I really enjoyed those rugby seats, guys.
Yeah. Did you have a good time with the game?
I did.
Good.
All right. What was the name of the McDonald's character that stole hamburgers in the 1970s advertising campaign?
I love this guy.
Oh my gosh, that was a tough one.
The
burglar.
Oh.
Oh,
White.
no, Dale.
He's the Hamburglar. I love that
Hamburglar.
guy. And Mayor McCheese and all the rest of them.
The Hamburglar was legit.
Hamburglar was legit.
Hey,
Sorry, Dale.
Dale, stay there. I'm gonna come find you.
Yeah,
after
we'll get
the
you,
break.
Dale, and get you something, Dale. That's sorry about that.
Yeah, that's not
That
cool.
shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't. Let's go to our next contestant. Let's go to Steve.
Hello, Steve. Happy Thursday.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're
Good,
doing well.
Steve. Good.
Here we go. First question. Which fast food chain was founded by Dave Thomas?
Wendy's.
Hey,
he
that
was
was
quick with
quick.
that.
I like it.
Yeah, where's the beef?
Question number 2. The
You not remember that?
I do.
square patties.
Yeah.
Their fries, hot take,
You like them?
best in fast food.
Not the
I
best
never
of
liked
best.
them,
No.
and I don't like
They're
the square.
underrated.
And I never liked the square patty. I
Never
couldn't
liked
get into
I'm
it.
with you on the square patty.
Couldn't get into
I don't
it.
know why, but it don't taste the same as the circle patty.
Didn't work to me. Sorry, Wendy.
It's a shape. It doesn't change the.
It does, though. Would you eat a chicken leg that was shaped like an
A square?
octagon or something? It
I
just
would
wouldn't-
never eat a chicken leg to begin with. So, all right,
You
here
don't
we
eat
go,
chicken
Steve.
legs?
No, I don't like eat stuff off the bone.
Oh, that's right. That's
It's
crazy.
disgusting. It makes me want to
Boy,
throw
you are
up.
making a hell of a strong point there, Mister. Give me the meat.
That's me if I eat off of a bone.
Question 2. What team did CC Sabathia play the most seasons for in his career?
Yankees?
Yankees.
Nice job.
Indeed.
He got it.
think it was
Played a lot
11.
with the Tribe as well.
Yeah, I think it was 11 seasons with the Yankees.
with them
maybe?
for a while.
He told a great story on his interview with Chris Young. I'll share with you guys about how he did not want to sign with the Yankees. He tried everything not to sign with the Yankees.
Really?
I'll explain to you how true that was. Question number 3.
For the win.
Which 2 quarterbacks... Wait, what? What is this? What is you trying to say in...
Oh. There. Now do it.
Which 2 quarterbacks led the NFL in interceptions in 2024?
So you're saying they tied
They
for the
tied
title.
for the most interceptions.
Yes.
All right.
I'll go Daniel Jones and Jameis Winston.
I mean,
Those are
good-
not
yes,
bad guesses
yes.
at all.
They're not
Stay
right,
there,
though.
Steve.
They're not correct, though.
Stay there, Steve.
One guy, well, nobody has to because I don't know this, but Kirk Cousins was on a terrific roll of interceptions there for a while. Don't know if he had enough.
He probably would have led if they didn't take him out the last couple of games.
Oh, that's true. Well, I don't know if I should go with him. How about Kirk Cousins and Jameis Winston? Jameis had a lot.
He did.
Yeah.
Stay
Not
there,
enough.
Steve. You are the
wins it.
winner.
Steve, you the winner.
This is shocking to me.
Well, the only thing about Jameis, he didn't start the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He came in later.
He per game, he was probably the leader.
Definitely
definitely
per game.
the leader.
Kirk Cousins is one of them. The other,
Kirk is one of them. Okay.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, really? Did
Yeah.
not realize
shocking.
Baker threw so many.
He had 40 tubs, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he had 40. So
40 what?
Touchdowns.
Tubs? Oh, touchdowns.
Sorry.
I hadn't heard that one before. But
Tubbs.
yeah.
Nevertheless, nice work. Hang on the line. Scraby will get to you in a second.
Yes.
We got a few minutes remaining here. I told you about the CC Sabathia story.
Wait, real quick. I'm sorry before you get to it. I
ahead.
looked this up. George Blanda holds the record most interceptions in a season. 42.
Wow.
I mean,
I guess-
Jameis had
And
what,
they kept
30?
running him out there too, huh?
I guess the passing game has improved since those days.
Wasn't Jameis Winston a
By the way,
30-30 guy? 30
he might have
TDs,
had
30
interceptions.
interceptions?
George Bland is in the Hall
He
of Fame,
definitely
by
was
the way.
that.
George Bland is in the Hall of Fame, despite
with
42
of them.
picks. Anyway, go ahead with
Despite
CC.
42 picks.
CC did not want to sign with the Yankees, and I know this because I remember as we were, and I say we, the Brewers, were trying to make the playoffs that year. I remember in September, standing in center field with him, and he knew at that point the Yankees were gonna come after him, and he was like, I do not want to play in New York at all. Like, he wanted to play on the West Coast. He's from California. He had only played in Cleveland and Milwaukee. He wanted to get back west, and I remember telling him, I'm like, because at the time the rumor was you're gonna get a bag. You can get a lot of money. I was like, yeah, man, I feel you on not want to play for Yankees, but how can you turn that kind of money down, man? It just doesn't seem like you could feasibly just say nah and sign someplace else for less. Like, this is, I get it. You want to, most West Coasters want to be on the West Coast, but he didn't. He really did not want to sign, and he kind of tells that story with the sit-down interview he did with Chris Young. I thought was done very, very well. So, that being said, let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on
How
the
much
other.
money did he get? I'm trying to think.
I can't remember. It's so scrambled now
I'll
because
have
the
to look
numbers
back.
are so big.
Right, he probably got $4 million, but it was a lot at the time.
That was like the record breaker.
More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. There's some traffic.
From the 8-5.
right, welcome back. Congratulations to Steve out there. He wins Chris versus the Fans today. But just ask Dale, Steve. You're probably not going to get any prize at all. No, Scraby did get on the line with Dale and try to make that right. So.
Scraby is taking all the prizes for himself.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I did not realize.
How do you think I have these new clothes all the time?
Yeah, they're
Selling
the
all these
same.
tickets.
Well, it's either that,
black
or
shirt
it's either
and
that or my
jeans.
San Diego State stuff I gave you.
Yeah, see? I'm not selling the tickets. I wear hand-me-down stuff.
He does wear hand-me-down stuff. All right, if you just tuned in, the big deal today, as far as we're all concerned, is that Jurickson Profar is an Atlanta Brave 3-year, $42 million deal. If you want to hear all our whining and crying and complaining about it, and Tony was pretty, hung with it. I complained. Scravy whined. And
you got the 3 stages of,
go back,
of
yeah,
grief.
right, yeah, grief, right. We did all the grief. It happened right before we went on the air, and so we came on the air and we're like,
in real time, right?
In real time. So if you want to hear that, to go back to the 2:00 hour. Gwynn and Chris, search that 97.3 The Fan SD.
Go to YouTube.
.com,
search 97.3
YouTube.
The
Yeah,
Fan.
you can find our reaction to this. But we have decided now, basically, that since Sasaki is a Dodger and Tanner Scott's a Dodger, and Kirby Yates is going to be a Dodger, and Teoscar returning.
I mean, you could go
Blake
on for days.
Snell. Yeah, I know.
Still
We almost
name
don't have
guys.
enough time in the segment. So they're running away with everything in terms of the offseason. Scraby and I, Tony I don't think is in on this yet, but we may be able to get him in on it eventually. Scraby and I have decided that the only way we're going to be able to take down the Dodgers is to find a loophole somewhere that Ohtani actually did gamble all that money.
Yeah.
And if we can bring Ohtani down, maybe we would be responsible for the collapse of the Dodgers empire.
I think we would have a statue built of us.
We are trying.
Yes.
And so to that end, Scraby doing a little digging is just coming up with some stuff here from the Department of Justice.
I mean, this
DOJ.
is serious.
I guess.
So The Athletic just came out with this article. You can go online and read it all, but it's pretty crazy. And the DOJ, the Department of Justice, even released a phone call of Ippei to a bank.
All right, tell everybody who Ippei is in
Ippei
case they forgot.
Mizahara is Shohei Ohtani's translator who
The
was
guy who's taken the
was,
fall
yes,
for
yes.
He's taken the fall for Ohtani's transgressions, right,
Yes.
Scraby?
Yeah.
Isn't that the way to describe
Yeah,
it?
he's actually
Is that the way to describe it?
He is
He's going to prison for Shohei.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. What was the word that Oswald used?
He's a patsy.
I'm a patsy.
Yeah, he's a patsy.
Right.
That's exactly what Ippei is.
Right.
Because then when they did the investigation with Shohei, they said, Mr. Ohtani, did you have anything to do with this gambling? No? Okay. Case closed. And just walked away. So
I can tell you that is not how people were moving in Korea when that news started to come down.
I wish I was there.
They were moving around like they didn't know what was about to happen.
Tony was just like texting us, man, people are scurrying about. Anyway, so they released this audio, and we're not going to play the full thing because it's 4 minutes, but here is a little bit of Ippei calling into a bank, apparently.
As Ohtani. He's claiming to be Ohtani.
And then, you'll hear.
Thank you for calling. Line for all. This call may be monitored and recorded. Who am I speaking with?
Shohei Ohtani.
Thank you. How may I help you?
So I tried to log in to online banking, and it tells me that it's not available to me at this time, and I need to call.
Sure, I can take a look into that. I can take a look into that for you.
So that's
Okay.
basically what it is him trying to be Shohei Ohtani and him basically being Shohei Ohtani.
Saying I can't log in a way to try to get whatever code he needed to log in as Shohei Ohtani.
So he can pay off some of that debt he had.
Yeah. Either that, or that really was Shohei Ohtani and he forgot his code.
That could be true.
if indeed
Decoy 1 is his password.
If that is indeed him, he would fit into the voice doesn't match body group.
True that.
You know,
True that. But
Rob
Dave
Beck,
Stewart.
Rob Beck, Dave
I'll bring
Stewart.
up Dave Stewart on that one.
That's what I'm saying. He would fit into that category of guys.
Yeah, voice doesn't matter.
Here's some more of it, but we're not going to play it. I'll read it because there's a transcript. The agent then asked for details about the transaction. Quote, now recently we've come across a trend of fraud and scams, so we have been monitoring the online transactions closely.
They were already on it.
To make sure our clients are not the victim of either. What is the reason for this transaction? Ipe says, a car loan. The agent asks, what is your relationship to the payee? Ipe says, he's my friend. The agent says, have you met your friend in person? He says, yes. Is there going to be any future wires to your friend? Possibly. And then the silence parts that you hear in the audio is them removing names of the bank and things like that. But, I mean...
So the bank was clearly... The antennas were going up based on the transactions that were happening.
Right.
That call center manager is like, oh my gosh, we did our job.
Yeah, exactly.
We did our job.
As the DOJ released this, they got word of it like, oh, man.
Can you imagine if you're the person that's on this phone now with Ipe and...
what is it?
Follow protocol, please.
Hang on, I'm having a dart. What'd you say?
I'm having a dart. But yeah, it doesn't change my opinion.
It really doesn't change anything.
No.
It seems more damning, actually, for Ipe than it was before. But it's fun we can dream, can't we?
You know, there are deep
They come up with some long lost evidence that puts the hit on Ohtani and knocks him out of baseball for 2 or 3 seasons. And then, how'd you like your choice now, Sasaki?
You know, Sasaki's just going to get caught up in this whole gambling ring that's going on in the Dodgers clubhouse.
Goodness.
I heard that when players walk in, Shohei says, you have to bet me $100 in this dice game right here.
Oh, he's playing dice?
Yeah, he's playing dice, and he says you have to give me $100.
No, he doesn't play dice. I've seen Ohtani on film.
Oh, what's that?
On the Netflix special.
Okay.
He's flipping quarters against the door against the ushers.
Oh, he's doing the Michael
Jordan thing.
Man.
Jordan was gambling. How much money was he betting that guy? That he could flip a quarter closer to the door.
That is...
Jordan was... he had an issue as well.
a little bit. He had a competitive issue,
he did.
apparently.
You know, the only person that's benefiting from Ipe going to jail other than Shohei is the new translator for the Dodgers.
Man.
Because he got a
his
promotion.
is just... That's next level.
He was just like a random team guy, right?
He'd been with the organization for a while, and you can already see... Whatever the promotion was, I saw him standing next to, I think it was Sasaki.
Yeah, it was.
Nice suit, clean.
All right.
Definitely custom.
That's
kind
of
custom. It was definitely custom.
Kind of thing you need if you're going to go place bets for somebody.
Absolutely.
You got to look the part of a rich person.
All right. Anyway, that's the baseball news today. Profar Abreu, 3-year, $42 million. Padres options. We mentioned some of the names that are still out there in the free agency world. It seems the best name is Alex Verdugo of the Yankees for left field. And I mentioned a pitcher that I like.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Down the road. We don't have enough time, but there's a long list of pitchers that are still available, of course. But I'm not looking for the top guy because those are the guys that are going to cost too much money. I was looking way down the road here. Former Astro, and I think he pitched pretty well in the World Series for them a couple of years ago, Jose Urquidy, 30 years old, had a 0.2 WAR last year, which means he's pretty much off the radar. Seemed like you might be able to get, I don't know, because I don't scout and see how the guy is throwing. I just know that he was a pretty good-looking pitcher to me a couple years ago, and I might be able to get him...
For whatever reason, he could never crack that rotation because
he
they were
was
so.
he
was just fifth or sixth starter. In. So I mean, when you said that, that's a really good name. If assuming he's healthy, of course.
Right, you don't know if he's healthy.
Right, I think that would be a great pickup for them.
Well, Scraby wants Alcantara, which
I'll take him too.
We want him too.
I want to talk to Alcantara.
I'm trying to come up with a name that is actually feasible.
Yeah.
That is Alcantara. I think it's Alcantara or Alcantara or whatever.
Alcantara.
He accepts Alcantara.
Alcantara. Okay, we'll go with Alcantara. I think it's doable.
I liked it better when you went Big Five is next, people.
When the Padres make history.
4:35 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. Talking a Big Five. A lot of Hall of Fame topics. Seems like we're going to be
Yes.
kind
Some
of
good
going
questions,
over.
I believe.
Oh, you think so?
I
Who came
believe.
up with them?
Who came up with these questions? You're looking at them right here.
All right. A little bigging yourself up a little bit, huh? You think you got
Pat myself on the back for these
There you
questions.
go.
I don't have a question number one, so that's why I'm trying to.
Shoulder's
stalling.
obviously feeling better now that you can
Shoulders
reach back like that.
Shoulders definitely.
You couldn't do that there for a while.
No. And
It was
when I
really
golfed-
tough when you couldn't pat yourself on the back for like 6 months.
It was really hard.
I
It
know.
Was really
What did
hard.
you do?
I just sat in silence and cried. No,
sorry.
when I played golf the other day, woke up the next morning,
Nothing.
no pain.
Are you still doing rehab?
No, I'm done.
Are you doing
I'm
stuff on
doing
your own?
stuff for myself.
Let's be honest. How often
3
are
times a week.
you're actually doing it?
Yes, I have the bands in my room, so I get out of bed or before I go to bed, and I step on the band and I do these like
A little
raises.
diligent.
Yeah.
Now, does Lucky allow you to do your work without bothering you?
Yeah, he just sleeps in his little bed, and we're a happy little family apparently.
Good for you, Scrape.
Thanks.
All right. Before we hop into the Big Five, let's probably check traffic. Yes.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. No,
We need it.
Not traffic.
not traffic just yet.
All right. So should we hop into the Big Five and check some traffic in between?
I think that's a great idea, Tony.
Let's
it
do
seems
it.
like we're
Oh,
on
oh.
time all day today, and I don't think our producer of the show is quite
He's
used to
not
that
used to
yet.
this. No. Usually we would
Struggling
carry
with
this
this.
for another
No, usually
4 to 7
Usually
minutes.
we haven't gone to break till now.
it's like 3:47, and I'm just sitting there like, just with this angry look on my face. But we'll check in on traffic because I know the fires. There's some fires out there, so I know people want to hear it. But we'll start with this.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. So with all of that said, traffic's ready, guys. We'll play it now.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Yet another brush fire has had fire crews busy, but they knocked this one out in La Jolla, Gilman, and Via Alicante. Now, you're going to find the Gilman off-ramps, both north and southbound 5, still blocked as they get a handle on things, put out any hot spots, do some cleanup. So if you normally take the Gilman off-ramp north or southbound 5, you need a backup plan. Also, on southbound 15 before Market Street, crash blocking the right lane. Looks like there is a fuel leak thrown into the mix. East 8 before Mission Gorge, crash over the right shoulder. Also, East 8 past Lake Jennings, vehicle went down the right shoulder embankment. Couple problems along North 15 in the North County. Crash before Poway Road, 2 vehicles over the right shoulder. And up ahead before the 78, car and motorcycle involved in a tangle. 2 left lanes are blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Number 5.
You came out the gate ready.
Told you. When I'm ready, I'm ready.
All right, go.
There you go.
Followed up.
I have to do this first. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiros for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla for dining or takeout options. Visit Spiros.
Did your readiness allow you to create a question number 1 yet?
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
One quick thing. Do you guys think we're in the about due for a Spiros feast around here?
I think we are. All right. I think we are.
You've been staying on your
I have actually
program.
Actually, I told everybody
good job?
yesterday
You
during
better
my
be.
diet or my ad that Carly, our salesperson, saw me and she goes, "Oh my God, you look so good!
It's working."
And I was like,
Go
"You
ahead.
know what?
Give yourself another one.
Pat on the back.
Hey.
Pat on the back."
We keep doing this, you're going to be right back on the
I'll be
operating
back.
table.
You're probably right about that. More and more reports are coming out, and Jake Garriani of CBS 8 said earlier, it seems like there is a pretty good chance the Genesis is going to be coming to Torrey Pines because it can't be played in LA. Jason Day was asked about it coming to San Diego, and he said he's all for it. The golf course is great. The infrastructure is there. But then he said, quote, "It just depends on if the city wants to hold it and what that would look like," end quote. To me, not a question. I'm not signing the checks of the people that work these things, though.
Word up.
Tony, if the city of San Diego turns this down, do we rage?
Do we rage? Maybe. The people
Like
rage.
anarchy in the streets rage? Or
Like,
just
what kind of rage?
Yeah, what are we doing
say
here?
Couple tweets.
Oh, more than a couple
Okay,
tweets.
so what kind of rage are we talking?
On this show, we will crush the people who made the decision to turn it away.
Listen, what I will say is there's a chance that people rage, but they shouldn't be all that surprised.
I think people are going to run around the streets waving golf clubs, are they not?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe the temperature because the Padres has folks feeling like that right now, but I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like things that we should definitely do.
Oh yeah, fun things in San Diego. Let's just send them somewhere else.
We say nah, no, thank you.
Because do we really want like Pebble Beach to get it? No, we don't want Pebble Beach to get it.
Maybe we do.
All these business owners
This
around
seem,
here.
to your point, this seems like a no-brainer to bring it here, but
and
the
they
fact
can
that
leave up the stuff so that people can watch.
I'm concerned with how Jason Day said that at the end, though. Like,
yeah, me too.
That makes me believe that he knows that maybe there's a chance the city doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, that's what. It just depends on if the city wants to hold it. So, Chris, you are talking about the city in the way of it doesn't know what it's doing when it comes to sports events.
They haven't been. Well, stadiums is not a strength of ours.
No, it's not.
Let's at least say that.
No, it's not.
Not a strength.
Do we rage if the city of San Diego turns down the Genesis?
I will. Tony will. You will. We should. But I don't think the city's going to. I think a lot of people don't even know the Genesis coming here is a possibility, to be honest with you.
Great point.
But I hope that the people running it, Marty Gorsuch, who does the Farmers, guy that I happen to know, and happen to think he's a pretty sharp guy. And I think if it works, they'll get it done. So
okay,
feel
Tony?
all right about it.
Oh, we already asked you.
already did. I went first,
Yesterday, I
buddy.
couldn't remember to get you.
Yeah,
into
now
the
you want me to go
answers.
twice.
Yeah.
I'm all over
Go
the place,
figure.
guys.
Number 4.
It's because we're getting out on time. I think it's
I
just
know, it's
messing you up.
messing with my head. CC Sabathia, Hall of Famer. We know that. Now, I saw this comparison on social media earlier, and it was way more interesting than I thought it would be, because when you read the name, you're like, he can't measure up to CC, but Zach Greinke is the other pitcher I'm talking about. And when you put all of their stats next to each other, Zach Greinke's WAR is like 15 points higher than CC's. He's pitched more games. CC has he has more innings pitched, more wins, and more strikeouts, and a championship. Everything else goes to Zach Greinke as winning the stat war between the two. So, Chris, if CC is a first ballot Hall of Famer, is Zach Greinke a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Not necessarily. They both have a Cy Young, right? They
Yes.
both have
Yep.
6 All-Stars.
Yep.
Similar.
Both have 6, and CC also has a championship. Zach Greinke does not.
Yeah. But still not necessarily. There's somehow, I feel like CC Sabathia's footprint is just larger than Zach Greinke's.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe he's pitched a few more important games than Zach Greinke has, or maybe he's pitched a few more important games that I remember than Zach. Just CC seems like he was a kind of a towering strength there on the hill. Greinke was always there, but I just don't remember him. So I'm going to say not necessarily.
Okay, Tony.
Not necessarily. I will say the same thing. I think, similar careers, completely different personalities, and whether we want to believe that or not,
It matters.
It matters.
Zach is a little bit of a kook from time to time.
A little.
Remember the day he sat on the mound?
Yes.
Waited for what was he waiting for? Them to
What
come
is it,
out and
crisscross applesauce?
No, yeah, because they had to come out and fix the mound, right?
They had to fix the mound, and he just sat there.
I mean, not only that, I remember being in L.A., they literally had to not let him speak to the media. This was when they were going to Australia, I believe it was, in 2011 or 2012, beginning of season 2012. And he was like, they're asking him basically to promote the opening day and where it was going. He was like, they put the camera in and mic in his face. He was like, I don't really want to go. I don't understand why we're going. And so they moved him out. In his time in Milwaukee, I heard stories of him hiding in the closet and playing, was it War of Worlds?
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, like just hiding out.
Yeah.
CC was the exact opposite. Like it was like the best teammate.
He's running for mayor.
Exactly. He's running for mayor. I think the other thing, the war thing, that's because Greinke was a 6-time Gold Glover. Defense
and a good hitter.
And a good hitter.
When he was able to bat.
My man CC only played, and who was a great hitter himself, only got to play in the National League for the little bit of months that he had as the Brewer. So there were some things that I think prevented him from having a higher WAR, because in terms of their pitching numbers, there's really a lot of similarities.
Yeah, they're almost
CC's
identical.
got about 26 more wins. He's got more punch-outs. He's reached that magical number of 3,000, which is a big one.
That is a big deal for whatever reason.
Right.
You get 2,998. You don't seem like you're as good.
And Greinke's just 21 behind.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to throw another
2,979.
pitch. So, not necessarily a first ballot, but I do think Zach
I bet
is
he'll
a
get
Hall
in
of Famer.
eventually because the Greinke support will grow as time goes on.
I do think he is a Hall of Famer.
All right. Nice job, guys.
Getting closer to one if you haven't figured it out yet.
Oh, I got my one.
Oh, okay.
It's regurgitation
See how
of
fast
something we did earlier.
you wrote this one.
Cleveland Browns coach Kevin Stefanski made official what most suspected after hiring a new offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. The head coach is going to return to play calling. He said, quote, "I'm going to call plays, and I reserve the right to change my mind," end quote. The announcement comes as no surprise because he handed off the play calling duties to Ken Dorsey in 2024, but the offense struggled and the Browns fired Ken Dorsey, and so it was the assumption that Stefanski was going to take over the play calling in 2025. So
that was a report that came out we saw earlier about that.
Yes. Tony, would you like your head coach to call plays or be a head coach?
maybe you guys can answer this. This is maybe where I have dropped the ball on my football knowledge. If your offensive coordinator, I assume, is designing the offense you're going to run,
wouldn't he have a better feel for what you should call?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a new offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right?
So what is his job actually going to be?
He's coming in with new terminology, I assume.
He has no play calling experience, but he is just coming into the organization.
So designing the offense, but it's never called plays.
Yeah.
I assume that's what the offensive coordinator
I don't know. We
does.
should ask Kevin O'Connell when Scraby gets his best friend on the show.
We might need to do this.
Kevin is a coach who calls plays, right?
Yes, yeah.
It does seem as though
Mike McDaniels tries it.
Kyle tries it, he says. Kyle
tries his
Shanahan
hand
does
at
too.
it.
I'm not mistaken. Stefanski was once calling the plays before.
And it worked a lot better.
So, I don't know. It would seem that the coordinator would have a better read on this, but listen, if I'm Stefanski and my job is on the line, I'm definitely going out on my own accord.
Right. He's lucky to get another year after 3-14. So I think he's, but we don't.
You're right. He is. I don't know how he survives as long as he has.
Because they know they was
Guess
forcing
what?
him to keep running that quarterback out there.
Yeah, they're looking for a quarterback in their franchise, and there's one that was in their franchise. He's now in Tampa, and he played pretty well the last couple
But you
years.
know
in
what?
Baker Mayfield.
Here's the thing about that,
and that was Stefanski's
it's
deal.
probably in Baker's best interest that he got out of Cleveland
Oh, yeah.
and is in Tampa. He might have never been what he's been right now if he stayed in Cleveland.
No, you're right. He went through some trials and tribulations as well, so that always helps.
Number 2.
Back to the Hall of Fame, guys. 2026 Hall of Fame is going to have some new names on the top of the list, obviously. And one name I saw made me stop and go, Former Brewer Ryan Braun. Now, during his career, he was pretty good, but he was suspended
He's really good.
PEDs in his career, so I can't really see him getting in if other guys can't get in. So, Chris, do you think he gets into the Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay.
Ryan Braun was in the Hall of Very Good. He was an awful, from what I recall, fielder. Well, he tried a little infield early in his career, and he really couldn't hack it there. It's probably the best way to say it, because they put him in the.
I got a great story about.
They moved him to
Bronny.
the outfield, and he was, a little more doable out there. But then again, I don't think they think of defense when they vote these guys in, unless you've won 25 Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
They don't. They say they do, but they don't. I don't think. Braun's really good. 350 home runs. Even won an MVP and a Rookie of the Year. I mean, that's some decent credentials, but the PED thing, if it's a 50-50, which I think it is, the PED is going to take him out for sure.
Tony,
I love Braun. He was a fun guy to be around. He was always
he was on your club.
Always good to me. I tell you a real quick Ricky story. He came over from the minor league side. You've been hearing all about him. He first at bat he hits a bomb. And we're on the road, and he threw a couple balls in the stands that day from third base.
Right, yeah.
I remember we were riding on the bus because he came into the game after the starters came out. So I'm one of the reserves that came in. So I'm on the bus, and I hear him over talking on the phone, and he's letting somebody know that he went deep, and that he saw he said something along the lines. They saw my arm strength though as he threw
it into the stands.
But at that point, I knew I was like, this dude's different, right? I mean, he's in here like. He feels like he
was
belongs.
happy about throwing the ball into the stands.
He feels like he belongs. But to answer your question, no, I don't think he gets in. I think he got popped at a time where baseball was actually cracking down on that.
That's true.
And the way it went down, I think left a lot of bad taste in people's mouth.
Did he ruin a guy's career?
I don't know if he ruined the drug tester
delivery guy, yeah.
career or not, but he certainly rolled him under the bus as if it was his fault, as we later found out it wasn't.
Yeah.
I just think that is going to keep him from any consideration.
All right, I can't remember where we're at this point.
This
Chris?
is number
okay.
1.
Yeah, no, but did you already answer
he went
this,
first,
Chris?
didn't he?
Yeah, I took a shot at it.
Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. This whole new timing thing, and I don't have my number 1 written down, but I do have it.
Can't wait to hear this freestyle.
Dallas Cowboys are close to signing their new head coach, everybody. It's not Deion Sanders.
Someone's going to owe someone an apology.
I've been thinking about that.
Liar! He's a liar!
I've been thinking about that. The Cowboys are apparently close to coming to a deal with their current or last year's offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. So that's looking like it's going to happen. A lot of the reporters are saying it could happen today or even tomorrow, but that is probably what's going to happen according to reports. How underwhelming is this, Chris?
It goes right along with what my friend and partner, Tony Gwynn Jr., said. Jerry Jones is not about to hire anybody that's going to give him a run for his money when it comes to attention. And it will be easy for reporters to trample Brian Schottenheimer on their way to Jerry after games. And that's exactly what Tony said. And when he said it, I thought, no, that makes perfect sense. So this is what's happening. It's underwhelming, but it's expected.
It's extremely underwhelming. And given the names that have been out there, seemingly hot as fish grease.
Fish grease?
He didn't interview any of them, at least to our knowledge.
Yeah, we don't know.
We hadn't heard Ben Johnson go there. We hadn't heard.
Ben Johnson didn't want to go.
He was smart. We didn't hear about Aaron Glenn going there.
I don't even think Kellen Moore went.
We didn't hear about anybody other than Dion, who was at home, who to me was signaling the whole time that he didn't want to go. He was trying to be nice. And then we get the Schottenheimer, which, hey, kudos to him. I'm glad he's going to get an opportunity to be a head coach, but this is underwhelming. And guess what's going to happen after week one, game ends? Who are we going to see after the game?
Jerry.
We ain't going to see Brian.
No.
We're going to see Jerry.
After their loss.
Full 18 different mics in his face. Like he...
I knew I made
just
the right
coached his
decision
team
with
to
Brian
win or loss.
Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
I made a right decision.
This is par for the course.
What are you laughing at, Chris? My
Great job, Rich Little. And you don't know who Rich Little is.
I don't.
He was the original voice impersonator way back when. He used to do like hundreds of them.
All right, Chris, what do you think?
Oh, no, I already said.
Yeah, he went first.
I said I gave Tony all the love. I
I'm
said
joking.
that was right on the
Okay,
money.
I knew we only had a couple minutes to go.
Very good.
1
is it me?
minute to go, actually.
It is me.
Yeah.
We will send you to the happy hour up next.
Into the happy hour we roll. 5 o'clock sharp. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Be careful out there, especially around the La Jolla area. They had some fire issues out there earlier. According to the reports we've had on our air, that has all been put out, but there's still some lingering effects. So be careful, and just be real careful in general in this particular season. The fires, it seems like one pops up every day. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby. Scraby has the Chronicles at 6 o'clock tonight following our program. So
I do.
You can
what's popping on the Chronicles
stick around for
tonight?
that. You want to give yourself a little plug here, or another pat on your back?
Yes, I'm going to pat myself on the back.
That elbow getting a little shorter. You ain't going back as far that time.
It is kind of getting a little tight now. It's getting a little tight. I think I'm going to go a little bit away from all the depressing Padres stuff that's going on. We will talk about Jurickson Profar, obviously.
Yeah.
But last night, I did a good old rant on people who think that I am a shill. So that's what I did.
Shill?
Yes.
Yeah, we both called that yesterday.
You were called it more than I was.
Yes. Shill.
They said that Tony was he was compromised by the Padres.
All right.
Like he's a spy or something.
You guys think what you want out there. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering why Scraby's going to be talking about Jurickson Profar later, it's not because he's coming back to the Padres, unfortunately.
The opposite, actually.
Yeah. He signed a 3-year, $42 million contract today with the Atlanta Braves. He'll make $12 million this year, $15 million, and $15 million to play for Hotlanta. As AJ Cassavell, our friend from MLB.com, said, Profar will be in left field on opening day at Petco Park. Unfortunately, he'll be playing that day for the Braves. Our discussion of the Profar topic took place in the 2 o'clock hour, if you'd like to hear all of it. But in general, we're as sad about it as probably most of you, coming in the wake of the Roki Sasaki decision last Friday. That's a couple of shots that Padre fans have had to take here. But upon hearing the number on the contract, seems to be fairly prudent, honestly. 3 years, $42 million would have been an awful lot to risk on a player, as much as we love him, that basically has had one good year. And so we'll see if the Braves get the bang for their buck. Padres have to look elsewhere, though, for a left fielder. We bring up Alex Verdugo because his name looks the best of all the available left fielders that are left out there. Doesn't mean that they're close or even talking to him or even thinking about him, for all we know. Some of the other news items on this Thursday, we are just a few days away from the conference championship games. And to that, we'll have conference championship game fun facts coming up at the bottom of the hour. Along with the fun facts, Scraby, you and I especially, Tony wouldn't have minded if we just forgot about this, but I didn't forget. Did you see yesterday Patrick Mahomes saying that, oh, no, the refs are very fair when they call these games?
We talked about this.
I wasn't here when you talked about it.
Oh, wait, that's right. You held on to this.
Because we still need to get into this penalty thing because
looks like we're going to run out of show today.
No, we have enough time.
We'll have enough time at the bottom of the hour.
Because this needs to be exposed.
No,
exposing the Chiefs.
Remember this morning when I texted it saying what we had today and I said the Chiefs expose?
Yep.
That's exactly what this
You're
is.
not
We
going to
need
miss
to
it.
stand up
Scraby doesn't want to miss
the
this.
Chiefs.
But I did find it comical that Patrick Mahomes said, oh, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Although I wouldn't expect him to say anything different, right? Yeah, they're cheating for us. That would have been a really interesting comment. So we'll get to the NFL championship games at the bottom of the hour.
I will give him this, though, Chris.
Yes.
He did realize that his flop out of bounds
was a little
much. He said
that the flop was a little much. You're absolutely right.
That was him flopping.
That wasn't his best move, and he knows it. Mark Andrews has spoken a few days after his critical drop in the loss to Buffalo. Look, I mean, he's heartbroken. I mean, heartbroken wasn't the right word. Devastated, I think, is what he said.
He said
gutted completely, and this guy's a 3-time Pro Bowler, but he doesn't want this to define him. He's going to have to bounce back.
This dude saved a woman's life earlier this year.
That's right, yeah.
He is, and
he's getting death threats.
And we bring up the everything he does for people with diabetes. He's a type 1 diabetic and out there playing great NFL football, but getting death threats right now. As I pointed out, in defense of Scraby and I's crazy fandom, we have never thought of doing something like that.
Correct. I've never gone that far.
Please give us a little credit, just a very little. We would appreciate it. The All-Star Game starters have been named for the NBA. Just came down a moment or two ago. Tony, without looking, unless you saw it, take a wild stab who leads the West and who leads the East in vote getting in the NBA.
Ooh, yeah.
Wild stab.
Is it Steph in the West?
Steph in the West? No.
LeBron then.
LeBron.
Okay. In the East, who's in the East now?
Tyrese Maxey. The same guy who is it always is in the East.
I can't.
That's why I asked the
Jason
question
Tatum?
the way I did. No, not Jason Tatum. He's never the vote leader.
East. Who's in the East?
Joel Embiid?
I'll give you one word clue.
Give me one word clue.
Freak.
Oh.
Donovan Mitchell.
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo. Oh, yes. Antetokounmpo is the top vote getter in the East for the NBA All-Star Game. So that came in just a few moments ago. But we were going to get into all of that, and the NFL award finals were announced too, so we'll let you in on that in the next segment. But Scraby came up with something during the break in talking with Tony that seemed a whole lot more interesting than anything we were going to talk about in the sports world.
I don't remember.
Your mom?
Now, don't throw Alicia under the bus now.
I think she kind of has it as a badge of honor. She loves it. She likes that.
All right, good.
We were talking. I think it came up because I said hot as fish grease when I was talking about.
Oh, yes, you did, and people commented that that's
it's a rap song.
Yeah, I never heard the song "Hot as Fish Grease," but it made me think about my mom. At San Diego State, that baseball team knew my mom very well for her fried chicken. And so my mom, will occasionally make big batches of it for guys. And one of the things that I've seen her do many a times, the fork that she's normally using to pull the chicken out may not be around. She has the superpower.
That is.
Reaching
really, into boiling grease?
Yes. And pulling chicken out.
With her hands?
Come on.
Yes.
She sticks her hands
it's not like she's
grease.
sticking her hand.
No, but she's touching the grease.
Yes, for sure.
Because whenever
I think she has been popped by the grease so much that it's just desensitized her hand.
Has anybody ever been hit by a flying droplet of grease? You go running out of the kitchen.
Yes, it's painful. It's painful.
I know that I've tried and immediately regretted it. Instantly. That fast.
But your mom can actually.
Not really even thinking about let me try it. It was like, oh, no, let me go ahead and grab this piece of chicken right here, and it just burned.
Running around the house,
doing this the whole time.
How do you?
Go ahead.
I don't know how you even first aid wise, how you address a burn like that.
It would seem like it would really be.
I don't know if cold water works.
I don't know, but
evidently she doesn't need any.
She doesn't.
Kind of
superpower
after that.
No treatment afterwards.
Well, your mom is a lot of things. Wonderful lady, and beautiful, and has done a great job with you kids. But tough is always a word that was associated with your mom.
Yes.
So
yes, it
this is more proof of that. Kendrick Lamar has company on the Super Bowl halftime stage.
That's how I said Zah.
I was going to say, well, I'll give you my dorky pronunciation. SZA.
Well, that's how you spell it for sure.
Right, but it's not. It's SZA?
It's SZA.
All right. Well, SZA will be out there for you
I've never heard of SZA in my life.
I have. I've heard of her. Although I must say that I had to look up the story to see that her was a her.
Right.
SZA, as I was, I'd heard of the artist, but didn't know anything about it.
I have a couple of updates on the NFL.
Real quick, Kendrick Lamar, Tony.
Yes.
For a guy like me,
yes,
because he's one of your all-time favorites, right?
He is.
Like top of the list.
Top of the list.
All right. So tell me why should I watch Kendrick Lamar, because I don't really think I know a single song.
You probably won't know any of his songs, but he is a tremendous performer.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He performed. You've seen him perform. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. He performed a little bit in the L.A. Super Bowl.
Oh, wait.
Oh, when they all came out there?
It was probably the best of all of the performances that came out.
Unfortunately, the only one I remember is Snoop because he dominates everything he's a part of.
He was before that one.
Yeah. All right.
But it was good.
All right, I'll try to hang. Usually, Super Bowl halftime, this is not Kendrick Lamar related. This is just in general. My tradition is to take the dog for like a 25-minute walk.
During the halftime.
Yeah, I've never really got into the Super Bowl halftime.
I'm all right
maybe
with
I'll
that.
try to watch some this year under your recommendation, Tony.
If you're the kicker of a team, don't go back out on the field and watch the halftime show. Remember, Evan McPherson watched the
that's right,
the Eminem halftime show, and everybody crushed him for it, even though he's just a kicker.
Give me the notes. Greg,
okay, the
before we
notes
go to break.
are that first one is that it looks like the Jaguars might have a coach.
Coach or GM?
Coach.
All right.
Liam Cohen.
He wants the job now.
Yeah,
he didn't
turned
want it
down.
before,
I know. Adam Schefter's reporting the two sides discussing a deal that would make Liam Cohen the next head coach of the Jaguars.
Okay.
So he's the offensive coordinator.
He's a former Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure about that one. Next one is Robert Saleh. Where's he going?
Back to the Niners.
The reports are saying he's going to be a defensive coordinator.
Well, it looks like it's got to go to break here.
Yes,
so,
we do. But Robert Saleh reportedly back with the Niners, baby.
I'm sending death threats to the 49ers organization.
We'll talk about it. 49ers talk on the other side.
No,
guys.
we will
97,
not.
97.3, the fan home of the 49ers and the Padres.
From the 855.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. And Robert Half, at Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Where are we going? Where would we tease?
Chris, what do you want to do first?
NFL, I want to do the, I thought we were going to do the NFL award.
That's fine.
finalists.
That's fine. Yes. Yes.
Unless you had something that you wanted to sneak in.
No, not at all.
Bottom of the hour, we'll check the obvious conspiracy that's going on in the NFL to let the Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Yes, the obvious.
It is obvious. The more he denies it, the more he takes himself out of reality.
This is what Patriots fans felt like for so long.
Well, we'll even address that.
Yes,
we're going to cover
videos.
this from all angles.
Let's go.
Before we do that, though, NFL award finalists, I think we should just throw this out first. Scrape, Why wait around? Coach of the Year finalist, Minnesota's Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win,
then what?
It's rigged.
He's not going to win.
Who's the other coaches?
Dan Campbell's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
He shouldn't, though, because his team was already a 15 or 14-win team. Kevin O'Connell won 14 games when no one even thought they were going to be above 500.
Is my man from the Commanders the one on there?
He is.
Okay.
Dan Quinn.
That might be
They
another
also
one.
threw in Denver's Sean Payton.
Nah, Sean don't need it.
And Kansas City's yearly Andy Reid.
Yeah, he won't
Those are
get
your
it.
5 finalists. Good luck to Kevin O'Connell. I
For
think,
sure.
I think in this one it is just an honor to be nominated. And who knows how they're going to do the vote. All right, we'll get to the other ones later. Comeback Player of the Year. Scraby's upset already on this one.
I have a question.
All right, Joe Burrow is one of the finalists. Viking quarterback Sam Darnold. And Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins.
He should win it.
Bills safety DeMar Hamlin is
can
in the
win it,
running.
too.
Scraby says if it's not J.K. Dobbins, it's rigged.
Oh, because the guy is torn his Achilles twice,
Yeah,
ripped
ACL
up his
twice.
knee, and
Did DeMar Hamlin almost die?
He
and now
definitely
starts
he
at
didn't
safety for
almost
the
die.
potential AFC
He
champs.
definitely died on the field for a minute. He came back.
That's going to be hard to
That's
beat
as
him.
big of a
isn't it?
comeback as you
that
can eat.
happened. Didn't he win it last year? The comeback player of the year?
I don't think so.
Because that thing happened 2 years ago.
He wasn't active until like a certain
see.
point in the season, and he didn't play very much.
He didn't play a whole lot last year. This year he became pretty much a
He
full-time
was
starter.
a full-time starter.
I'm not trying to take away anything.
Sounds like
from
you are.
tomorrow.
Sure.
Sounds like you're
Sounds
trying
like
to take
you
it away
are.
from the guy who almost died.
Thanks, Tony.
Heartless.
I think that J.K. Dobbins is the right choice. He's been
I
through
wouldn't be
so
mad at
many
that.
injuries, and he had a really good year last year.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know any of these guys except for Rams rush edge Jared Verse, who looked good.
Oh, that's right.
Is that the
won.
single digit?
Joe Flacco was the comeback
Yes.
player last year.
I think Verse is
Verse is number
Nine.
8.
8, yeah.
He's the guy that got in the
He's all
scrap
over the
with all
place.
the Eagles fans. Had a good game. Chop Robinson of the Dolphins.
Ooh.
Chop! I'll give you credit, Chop. You had 6 sacks, 20 pressures, 8 TFLs. I don't remember any of them. As a Dolphins
Because you're
fan.
too livid with your
I'm too
offense.
mean to the whole team. I just don't remember any of it. But he's a finalist. 3 other guys that I don't know a lot about. 2 of them, though, are Eagles cornerbacks. Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell.
Oh, Cooper DeJean is really good.
All right.
really good.
Well, those are Rookie of the Year finalists.
They give him a lot of credit. He's a white guy playing safety,
Yep.
laying hat,
I think
covering.
he even returns kicks too.
Yes, he does it
Okay.
all.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is an impressive group. I mean, an impressive group when I don't think Brian Thomas of Jacksonville should finish even higher than 4th.
For the Offensive Player of the Year, rookie.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think there's 3 guys that are better than him.
I got issues with this, so go ahead, Chris.
Well, the 3 guys that are better than him, and then you can give your issue. Malik Neighbors,
Definitely better.
Brock Bowers,
Definitely better.
and the guy who has to win, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's the hard one to get past, but
Yeah.
He's the best rookie quarterback maybe of all
Ever.
time.
According to many people.
yeah, he's going to win this. We know this.
All
but
right.
I do think
What's
Brian
your
Thomas Jr. has an argument as to why he should be the Rookie of the Year. He was the only rookie in top 5 receiving yards among the NFL, number 3 in the NFL to be exact. Only rookie to have 10-plus receiving touchdowns, and he did it on only 87 catches. That's an amazing
And
year.
unfortunately, I didn't see any of them.
He had a great year, but he's going to finish no better than 4th. That's how good it is. Sorry,
with him.
Scrabe.
Malik Neighbors was hurt.
Defensive
balling.
Defensive Player of the Year. Weren't they teammates at LSU, or was
Probably.
Neighbors somewhere else? No,
Neighbors
they were
was
both
at LSU,
teammates.
yeah.
They were teammates. Yeah. Wow.
He's like, man, I finished behind Malik
wait a minute.
again.
And Jaden Daniels threw to both guys
Yes,
at
he did.
LSU. How did
wow.
how did LSU not win it all?
Seriously.
Defensive Player of the Year overall, T.J. Watt. I think he's in there almost every year. Pat Surtain, Denver.
He's really good.
He's legit.
They say he's the best corner in the game. His dad used to play for the Dolphins.
Yes, he did.
Trey Hendrickson, Bengals, led the NFL with 17.5 sacks.
I
But
love that guy.
I don't mind him, but how do you give it to a guy who played for such a terrible defense? Overall, the Bengals
He was
couldn't
part of
stop
the problem,
anybody.
too.
I don't know. Myles Garrett, I have the same argument with him. He's Defensive Player of the Year, but Cleveland was awful.
least their defense was good. Bengals defense was
right.
atrocious.
Yeah. Zach Bond from the Eagles is the last guy.
That's one
on
I've
this.
never heard of before.
Okay. And then Offensive Player of the Year, which I
Wait,
think
is Hendrickson the one that wears no gloves? Like he's barehanded? Like he has tape around his fingers, I think.
He's a white dude.
He's
yeah,
weird.
he's a problem.
He is a problem.
Oh, yeah, he had 17 and a half sacks. Offensive Player of the Year, I think, is kind of a silly award because it seems like it's the same thing as MVP. I mean,
he
you have...
does not wear gloves, you're right.
Yeah, Barkley, you have Lamar Jackson. The only guy you don't have an Offensive Player of the Year is Josh Allen. I don't see how he doesn't make it as a finalist.
How does Jamar Chase beat Saquon?
For this award?
Because Jamar Chase has
Chase won the receiving Triple
the most
Crown.
catches, the Triple Crown, which never happens.
I don't think he's going to win it.
That'll be interesting. MVP, it's down to the three. I think most people know the Josh Allen, Lamar, or Saquads.
Saquad's greatest nickname ever.
Yeah, and remember, I think the voting takes place before the playoffs
It does.
begin. So whatever happened the other night in Buffalo or anywhere else does not factor in the decisions. It'll all be announced on February the 6th at the NFL Honors. Snoop Dogg?
It is
right.
Snoop Dogg.
Hey, how many Snoop Dogs are there?
There's just one.
No, there isn't.
There's got to be more.
He will be hosting a rap event in New Orleans. He will be doing a boat launch in the UK.
He'll be doing the Olympics. He'll be
He
doing
is
everything.
Everywhere.
This dude is
Incredible.
everywhere. Bill Belichick, I thought what he had to say about the Ravens was really spot on.
The loss?
The loss. He was like, they are probably the most talented team in football, but they beat themselves all the time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
they
look back
certainly
at that
did
game, the Buffalo didn't really do anything but let them make mistakes and took advantage of those
That's a fair
mistakes.
thing. I mean, 3 turnovers was only the beginning.
Right.
Because the drop passes and, some of the ill-timed penalties.
Yeah. It was
Anyway,
tough.
we'll see. All right. Coming up next, the push to make the Chiefs champs. Scraby and I will dissect it.
A whole segment for
A
this.
whole segment.
Well, there's that many numbers that prove our point.
Oh, my
I see.
Lord.
Yeah, we may need to even go into the Chronicles for some of that.
I'm happy
I'm
to
out.
share it with you guys.
We also-
Tony's not that concerned.
No, not
We
at all.
also have some fun facts about the 2 conference championship games. Stick around.
Hey, it's Ben.
coming up at the top of the hour, 6 to 7 tonight. Stick around for that. If you just happen to tune in, be careful out there, especially around La Jolla. They had a fire over there earlier today and had some people evacuated. Still some leftover traffic and stuff from that situation. So take it easy out there. Relax. We'll get you home. Also, you'll want to know the bad news of the day. Jurickson Profar will not be a Padre. He will be a Brave. 3 years, $42 million. All right, here's more bad news. Chiefs have already won their third straight Super Bowl. Why even play the games this weekend?
First team ever to
do it. NFL obviously wants this to happen.
Oh, that's right.
Continuing to assign officials to the Chiefs games that cheat and help them win.
Cleet Blakeman is going to be the official for the AFC title game.
An unassailable human being, Cleet Blakeman.
His name is Cleet, which is kind of funny to me. But I know Cleet. I can see him in my head right now.
You can see him going, personal foul, 15 yards, roughing Mahomes.
Actually, he's probably practicing in the mirror right now, so just so he gets it right.
He gets it right. Here's the thing. People are still upset about the calls last week that went against the Texans. They feel like Mahomes gets the special treatment. And now people are going out of their way to try and actually prove it, Scraby. And there are some damning numbers if you choose to look at it that way.
I
and
think
I will
it's confirmation.
I will let our chief correspondent when it comes to conspiracies, Matt Scraby, sort it out for us.
All right.
You got some music for this? This feels like there should be a music bit.
Where's the conspiracy music?
Don't you have something from, what was that show with Suller and Mulder?
Oh, X-Files?
Sully and Mulder, X-Files, yeah.
I'm not sure if we have that. I don't know where it is, actually.
Okay.
But let's see what this sounds like. I don't know what it sounds like.
This is fun. Sounds like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it's
actually.
Scooby-Doo.
I don't know what this is, but we'll go with it. Okay, so Tony, ESPN put up a graphic, and they had in one column they had Chiefs, and in the other column they had opponents. So
this is ESPN?
ESPN.
Okay.
Since 2021, in the Chiefs' 11 playoff games,
pretty good sample size.
Chiefs have been called for 36 penalties.
Okay.
Opponents have been called for 66 penalties. That is 30 more penalties.
Got to play more discipline
over 11
in the playoffs.
games. That's like 2 penalties a game almost.
Sounds like a team beating themselves to me.
Almost.
Okay.
I knew you were going to say that. Chiefs had 319 penalty yards among those 36 penalties. Their opponents were penalized 541 yards in the same period of time.
Okay.
The Chiefs have never had more penalties called than their opponent in the playoffs since 2021. Their opponents, 10 times. They tied one time, so that's why it's only 10 times.
So in 10 of the 11 games, the opponents had more penalties
called against them than the
Chiefs. Okay.
Only one time since 2021 in the playoffs have the Chiefs had more penalty yards than their opponent.
So
what time is that?
I'm sorry?
What, do you know? When
Probably the only game they lost. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know which one doesn't say.
Okay. Okay.
But here's some more.
There's more damning numbers than those.
Damning numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, but we'll go to traffic. And I think these next numbers are actually
these
most
are going to bring you over
damning.
to our side.
This is going to bring
Wait
me
till you hear
there.
these,
Yes.
Tony.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Busy afternoon turning into kind of a busy evening. So you're going to find the Gilman Drive off-ramp of south and northbound 5 shut down, all due to that 2-acre brush fire from earlier. Gilman Drive and Via Alicante. Apparently they're still looking for hot spots and just doing a little cleanup around that. Several problems in the North County. Looks like crash has cleared northbound 5 before the racetrack, but on northbound 15, we still have this accident involving a motorcycle before Valley Parkway. The fast lane is blocked, and westbound side of the 78 before Rancho Santa Fe. There is a collision involving several vehicles. It appears to be blocked in the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right.
All right, Scrabe, hit him with the haymakers now.
This is a haymaker. Tony,
Let me cover up. Go ahead.
Since 2011 or 21.
Yeah,
sorry.
or
last 4 years
yes,
of the playoffs.
last 4 years. The Chiefs' opponents have had 7 roughing the passer penalties called on them. The Chiefs have only had 1.
I can't believe they even
had
had
4 postseasons.
I can't believe they only had 1 or had 1.
I mean, neither.
Yeah.
There's 4 unnecessary roughness penalties that have been called on opponents. Kansas City, 1.
Okay. So that's 11 of those.
Yes.
Those mayhem penalties.
Yes, that give them an extra first down,
and
extend drives.
Only 2 on the Chiefs.
Here's the final one.
To drive the nail into the coffin.
Here it comes.
There were 11 defensive pass interference penalties or defensive holding penalties on their opponents. Only 2 called in the last 4 seasons on the Kansas City
So
Chiefs.
9-2.
9-2. And if you want to go a little bit further,
Warren
Sharp broke this down at Sharp Analysis, but the Chiefs are the only team with they're at +9 net, meaning more penalties called on their opponent than the Chiefs.
Right.
Every other team
Getting into
is
analytics
+1.
now.
Cincinnati Bengals -5, which goes with the theory that Joe Burrow wouldn't get the same calls as Patrick
They
Mahomes.
play undisciplined football, which is why they're not in playoffs.
What you're saying is a farce.
It's not a farce.
Because you're telling me that the Chiefs are such a good,
well-coached team,
that they don't
That's
commit
exactly
penalties?
what I'm telling you.
I'm pretty sure I see them false start on every play.
They
One of their
got Spagnoli. They got
Spagnoli.
I'll have some Spagnoli marinara tonight when I get home, by the way.
Yeah, I can't wait for my Spagnoli.
They got Reed. They are well coached.
All right. There are some people that would say, though, Tony, and I'm going to try to make this fair. You can almost call pass interference or defensive holding on every play. And so the fact that there's been 11 on one side and 2 on the other is a tad eye-opening. I will say I hope if the Chiefs win, there are no controversial calls this weekend.
I got a text just now.
Because last Sunday Saturday rather was tough to.
It was
tough to see, man. I didn't, and you would agree that neither of those should have been penalties.
Which ones? What are we talking about?
The 2 hits on Mahomes.
No, they shouldn't have been penalties.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got a text, and this is what there's. And I'm sorry, Matt, you're a sheep. Yes, this guy was named Matt. You are barking up the wrong tree, Scraby. Their team is disciplined and surgical with their approach.
That's all it is.
They
That's
are
all
not
it is.
better at not committing penalties.
Yes,
they're just
they
better
are.
at getting.
Yes, they are.
They're
I
better
would-
at
I
getting
would
the
argue-
not getting the calls.
I would
That's what I'm trying to
argue
say.
that they have faced more talented teams than themselves. But
that doesn't mean anything.
I'm saying they're more disciplined in every team they play.
Yeah, but they only have to play one team. Their opponents have to play 2.
That's true.
I'm doing everything I can to help you here, Scrabe.
That's true. No, you're right, Chris, because have you seen the deep fake video of
You're
Patrick
right.
Mahomes and the referee talking behind closed doors?
I did. You know the commercial where they.
I tell you what. I've never seen a referee approach. I lost my train of thought.
You never seen a referee
approach
Patrick Mahomes, the way I saw my man approach Josh Allen over there, where he was like tapping him on. He walked into the sideline to have a conversation with him about a play that he didn't get called his way. Never seen that before.
Yeah, because Patrick Mahomes is crying about every penalty that he didn't
Listen,
get called on
I
him.
agree with Chris on the fact that I didn't like the way the floppity flop looked. It looked diabolical a little bit. But
if we were to put those numbers up, Chris, and give no context on it, the person
that would be
looking
like,
at
oh my
these
God,
numbers,
they're cheating. That's what you would come to?
yes, that would happen.
No.
I don't know how you can't see these numbers and not at least think about it.
We're thinking about it.
Well,
plenty.
you guys are plenty thinking about it.
Yeah, we got everybody thinking about
Chiefs
it.
are cheaters.
All right.
Might be 3 times.
Here are some fun facts and figures for the 2 games this weekend. Stuff that's happened that I think could have the impact. Give me a little.
Sorry.
Thank you. We'll start with let's start with the Chiefs. Obviously, they're home to Buffalo. These teams have met in the playoffs 6 times before. The Chiefs have been keeping the Bills from the Super Bowl for a long time now, guys. In fact, the very first Super Bowl, the Chiefs went to that game by beating Buffalo in the AFL championship game. That score was 31-7 that day. I believe the Bills were called for 32 penalties, the Chiefs 2.
All the way back.
That was
then,
1966. Yeah, they've been cheating forever. Chiefs have won the last 3 playoff meetings, all in the last 4 years. So that is obviously going to be fresh on the minds of Buffalo. Here's something to think about, Bills fans. Buffalo is 21-21 all-time in postseason play. But in their history, the Bills have won only 4 games on the road in the playoffs. And the last came in 1992 when, sadly, they beat the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game in Miami. So Buffalo has not won a road playoff game in 32 years. That means Josh Allen's never won a road playoff game. So something he'll be trying to accomplish here this weekend. And this is this is impressive whether he's cheating or not. Prior to Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs franchise was 9-18 in playoffs. Over 58 years, they won 9 games.
Wow.
Since Patrick Mahomes, 16-3. I mean,
tell me a quarterback that's good doesn't matter, right?
16-3. His only losses, 2 to Brady and 1 to Joe Burrow.
Brady got him in an AFC and a Super Bowl.
He got him in the championship game. That was in overtime when the Patriots went right down the field, and then they changed the rule because Mahomes never got the ball.
That's right. Because that was also the same year that Josh Allen didn't get to touch the ball in OT, right?
That's right.
It's really
yes, and then Brady beat him with the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, and then Burrow also in overtime.
That's right.
So 2 of his 3 losses were in overtime. Man, that's good, whether you like him or not. Go ahead, Scrape.
I was going to say a hater comment. I'm just going to keep it to
myself.
Keep it to yourself.
You don't need to be a hater.
All right, NFC Championship game, Washington, Philadelphia. This is the 182nd time.
That's amazing.
In history that these two teams have played each other. Washington leads the series 89-86.
Oh, it's close.
And back in the day, 6 ties. Remember, you guys aren't even old enough to remember that they had ties.
I remember ties.
They have ties. In the NFL. Well, you know what I mean. They had them quite often back in the day.
Was there no overtime?
There was no overtime.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was no 2-point conversion.
I think the first time
everything was, it was kind of easy to get a tie.
I think the first time I ever remember watching a tie was, I think it was Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Michael Vick was the quarterback for the Falcons.
I do remember that 35-all.
I was like dying to see what was going to happen, and then it just
walked off the field.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
If you ever went to a football stadium and the game ended in a tie, you didn't know what to do when the game was over.
I mean, hey, Donovan McNabb didn't even know the games could end in
a
tie.
Know,
he was playing in it.
He was in one. The only playoff meeting ever between these two happened in a 1990 wild card game, so that was a long, long time ago. Randall Cunningham was quarterback in the Eagles that day. Washington won the game 20-6. We mentioned this earlier in the week, but only 2 games have been won by a road team in this year's playoffs. Both Washington. They won at Tampa Bay. They won at Detroit. We've also mentioned this a few times, but it bears watching. No rookie has ever gone to the Super Bowl, started the Super Bowl, taken his team to the Super Bowl. The previous 5 that got to the championship game, not exactly a who's who.
Was Ben Roethlisberger on that list?
Here's the list. Sean King.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay lost to the Rams, 1999. Big Ben, correct, 04, lost to the Patriots. Joe Flacco, 08, lost to the Steelers. Mark Sanchez, 09, lost to the Colts. And your guy, Brock Purdy, a couple years ago.
Eagles, get out of here.
And all 5 lost. None got to the Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels is trying to become the first guy to do it.
I think he can.
A lot of people think he can. Number 6 seeds.
Have a hard time dealing with that run attack.
Saquon, yeah.
We will find out.
That offensive line is like the first offensive line I remember that just bullies the front of whoever.
I mean, as good as Barkley is, I could have gained at least 10 yards on a couple of those.
He's not getting touched until 5 yards in.
I saw a stat. He gained 1,400 yards this year before he was touched.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, the number 6 seed, which Washington is, has only been to 2 Super Bowls ever. 2005 Steelers, who went on to beat Seattle in the Super Bowl, and the 2010 Packers, who went on to beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl.
Steelers. So Washington, was that the Sean Alexander Seahawks?
The Pittsburgh over the Sean Alexander Seahawks, and Green Bay with Rodgers over Roethlisberger in 2010. So it's been 14 years since the number 6 seeds made the Super Bowl. Washington's trying to do that. On the Philadelphia side, 19-8 in home playoff games over the years. They've won 4 straight at home since losing in 2019 to the Seahawks. The Eagles are a number 2 seed. No number 2 seed has been in the Super Bowl since the Chiefs in 2019. So that's kind of weird. It's been 5 years since that's happened. And if you're thinking about a Philadelphia-Buffalo Super Bowl, that would be a matchup of 2 seed versus 2 seed. That's only happened once before in Super Bowl history. 2018, that was the year of the thrilling Patriots victory over the Rams. 13-3.
I remember that.
Anybody remember this game?
Boring.
Yes, it was.
There was a lot of punts.
That was really some.
It was don't worry, they'll get used to each other and then it'll open up, and it just never opened up.
2 high-scoring teams that couldn't score.
Yeah, there was one play in the game. I think Brady threw to Gronkowski, dove and caught it at the 5, and they ran it in, and that was the whole game.
Yeah.
I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that if the Commanders beat the Eagles, we're being set up for a bad Super Bowl?
Yes.
Why would we? You don't think Jaden Daniels can?
No, I take that back.
The
no.
magic
I think
compete on that.
If he's going to get to
stage?
that point, I think he's going to be. It doesn't
I'm not
look
talking
like.
about Jane Daniels. I'm just talking about.
You don't think the Commanders
teams.
are good enough to keep up with these teams?
Like,
I do. Now that being said, I do believe the Super Bowl is on the AFC side.
You think the better two
I think
teams
those
are
are
there?
the best 2 teams in this remaining.
Okay.
I agree with that. I would say I could see.
But
the
I do
AFC
think
winning.
at this point, I think it was foolish to question if Jalen Daniels is able to get through this round. Like, he's more than showed he's capable of.
Don't you get nervous? Don't you get nervous that the shoe's going to drop though, and he's going to have the typical game that a rookie's supposed to have at this level?
It's certainly a possibility for sure.
It'd be a bad time to have it.
I'm gonna say the worst time to have it.
He did throw 5 touchdowns against the Eagles a few weeks ago. That was the game that Jalen Hurts got the concussion and knocked me out of the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and they needed. I think the Commanders needed 2 turnovers
It was a big
in that
comeback.
game
You're
late
right.
to win that game.
Eagles won the first meeting 26-18, week 11. As a matter of fact, the Bills and Chiefs also played in week 11 this year. The Bills won that, and that's the only loss Mahomes has had in his last 22 games. Remember, the Chiefs lost at the end.
Tough to beat him twice in the same season.
Tough to beat him twice at all.
Well, it's easier when you have the refs in your pocket.
All right.
Maybe
well,
so.
tomorrow we will have our
Maybe
predictions. I call special attention to Scraby's predictions. Shockingly, he is 8-2 so far on the NFL playoffs.
The other shoe will drop.
We'll see.
Guaranteed.
Tony will come after you on the picks tomorrow, Scraby. What else we got tomorrow? Countdown, and
we said something.
We did say something.
We talked about it in the break.
We'll figure it out.
Man,
Hopefully,
our brands are so bad.
How much longer do we gonna have to? Tony, give us a time frame. It's a bad question.
What you got?
I got. How much longer till the Padres kind of have to do at least something to get us excited?
I mean, now is the answer, but to get everybody excited. But,
Tonight would be good, huh?
But I won't be surprised if this is into the spring training before there's a move made. It's just the way it seems to be shaping right now.
Spring training starts when?
The pitchers and catchers
the end of
report the
February.
12th.
Yeah, 12th.
Okay, that's 19 days away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris gave the eek face, and
I
I'm
can't
giving
believe
the
it.
eek face too, even though we were in this position last year.
Yes, we were, and it all turned out quite
Wonderful.
well, I might add.
It's probably the most enjoyed ride we'd have for a whole season. Because remember, in 22, it came on. It was dicey. It started off great.
Yeah.
They were like 18 games above 500, and then it
They
fell
stumbled
back.
to the finish
Yeah.
line in 22.
In 24, they were like the best team in baseball right out of the All-Star break.
Yeah. Except for that first game. That way, got thumped by Cleveland, and then they never looked back after that.
I remember us pumping that game up like, man, Padres are going to come out and they're going to win, and they lose like 8-0.
7-0, something like that.
And then they go on like a 10-game winning streak.
Lanto Griffin. Scraby's going to tell us who that is.
He's a golfer.
Anything more?
He's from Mount Shasta.
He's not lying either.
In California. He looked that up earlier. He's atop the leaderboard along with the Swede Ludwig Oberg. Both are 6 under par through 2 days now. The Farmers Open. They had an hour and a half weather delay today.
2 players.
Oberg,
yeah.
Did you see that? How they had like a little small O above the A.
He's Swedish?
He's
Is that what you
Swedish.
said? Yeah.
Yes, he's Swedish.
You think that little O thing is what changes the
Aberg into an Oberg?
Probably should have noticed that because I've been calling him Aberg. But there is a little O above it. There's 2 players. The wind was so bad at the Farmers that 2 players shot, or 2 big name players shot 80. That's how bad the wind was today. And Oberg shot 75 today, even though he was on fire yesterday. Poor Charlie Hoffman. He got the draw on the South course on the wrong day.
Charlie was at
it was brutal.
Charlie was at even par until the last hole.
Trying to play the South course.
Got
in
the bogey,
winds.
finished at +1 according to this. They had him at +2 on the TV. Charlie officially, according to this score sheet I'm looking at, +1.
I think that's the cut, right?
Charlie. Cut?
It's around.
Doesn't it usually say that? Following players may fail to make the cut at +1. Wait.
Oh, so at +1, which means that he didn't make the cut then, Charlie.
No, he did. He was +1 for the tournament.
All right,
Charlie.
I'm going to have to figure this out.
It sounds like according to this, Charlie made the cut. We'll sort it out. Scraby will have the answer on the Chronicles. For Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello. Stick around. Scraby's next. We're back for a weekend preview tomorrow at 2 on 97.3 The Fan.